This is episode 155 of the Actors Room, and tonight we have a special guest. His name is Russell Sams, and he has been in the business for over 25 years doing film, short films, television, and even a music video. His journey has been fascinating, and it will also be fascinating to talk about that journey because that's what we do in the Actors Room. We talk about their life and career. So, without further ado, please welcome Russell Sams to the Actors Room. Hey, Russell, thank you for coming, man.
Jeff, it's wonderful to meet you. This is an honor, actually.
Is it really?
Yeah, because you made the effort to contact me, and I'm down for anybody who wants to talk about acting and the journey of it, and everything in between. And I could tell by looking you up too. I was like, oh, this guy's a cinephile.
Yeah.
This guy's a movie buff. This guy is serious about it. And I was like, that's yeah. I mean, and you wanted to take time to do this, so it's an honor, my man. Thank you.
Before we get started into your life, because that's what we do on my show, I mentioned earlier, Russell and I had a nice little conversation before we started, and we wanted to really get a format going, but we just want to have a conversation. But the reason why this is happening is because one night I sat myself down and I watched a movie, and Russell was in it, but I didn't know he was in it. It was the John Holmes movie that you were in, okay? And what was that called again? I'm catching up.
Wonderland. I actually have the
oh my God,
the seat
I see it
back there. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, so anyway, I'm watching Wonderland, and about halfway through, maybe a little before that, and I see this actor walk from that side of the room to the other, and I go, I know that walk. I've seen it. I recognize it. I know that actor. He was in Rules of Attraction. And I've seen him in a few other things, but I noticed you just by your movement. You, as an actor, have purpose. It shows in your walk. And I go, I got to find out what he's doing. I'm going to look him up because I haven't told you this yet. I looked you up a long time ago when I was doing my Marlon Brando screenplay. I know I did. We just didn't connect. I connected with a lot of people. You're one of those people I did reach out to. It just didn't happen. I reached out to a lot of people, but I never forgot that. So the reason why I'm doing this interview is because of that moment. And that's what acting is. It's a series of moments. Sometimes we catch them, sometimes we don't. And I recognized that moment, and I had to see what was going on. And when I found out that you do acting workshops, and you were just so passionate about it, it reminded me of acting school. And I'm very passionate about acting school. So I was like, and I said, you know what? It's about fucking time. I did an interview. And for some reason, I'm thinking Russell would be perfect if he said, maybe. Just that chance. So I thought I'd set that up. Here we go. Russ, let's start at the beginning. If you want, talk about where you're from.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, you mentioned, let me, I will, I'll mention small town USA for sure. And we'll maybe come back to that later, but that Wonderland, the director, James, saw me in Rules of Attraction.
Did he really?
Yeah. And he was like, how did I meet him? He called me.
How did you meet him?
He called me up, or I don't remember the connection because there was another guy in there who played one of the gang members, and he and I met. I don't know. It's LA. Right? It's LA. At 8 out of 10 people you meet there at the time. I don't know about now, but at the time, 8 out of 10 people you meet in LA works in the business, either behind the camera or in front of the camera. You go to a coffee shop, there's people like working on their script, there's actors there, there's writers, it was really at one point the center of it, So I don't remember where we met, but he was actually friends with Heath Ledger and was living in his house as a roommate at the time.
Wait, whoa, whoa, whoa. So the guy you were in with Wonderland and one of the gang members, you were Cherokee, correct?
I was Cherokee. Yeah, I don't remember his name.
Okay.
He had a similar part that I do. Also, you see in there too, Scoot McNair,
Mm-hmm.
who has a huge career.
Yeah.
This guy, and we were all just like, small parts in that.
Yeah.
But I don't remember who recommended me to that. Where the director James saw me in Rules of Attraction, called me up. It's like, look, man, I don't have a part for you. I just want you to be in it.
Seriously.
And so he just kind of threw me in, and I was just there. It was an amazing experience. A couple of really great stories.
Well, I'm sure we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get into that. But you're talking about where I come from. Small town USA, man.
Yeah.
Clinton, Tennessee.
Yep.
Clinton, Tennessee. I grew up there. A town of, I don't know, 9,000 at the time, maybe less.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of those places where I had a cousin I grew up with, served in the Iraq War. He got killed in the Diyala province, which is like northeast around the area of Baghdad. He got killed there in 2007 by IED, and it was one of those small town American towns where people lined the streets in his procession.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like two huge fire trucks with their ladders extended with the American flag draped down, people on the side. It was cold. It was around, it was winter, and people standing like for miles. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those small towns, and I grew up there and had no idea about acting or the arts,
Were your parents interested in film?
Funny to ask that. I would say I'm sure they enjoy movies. My dad, he would take VHS and record movies, and then he had a library methodically labeled on his bookshelf. Now that I never thought about that, but I guess he was. I guess he was a movie fan, because he would label them out, put them on there, and he put them up there. But it was never like a subject of conversation. It was just like, hey, we're just average family. Yeah, we like movies. Yeah, who doesn't? And,
Okay.
Yeah.
Brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I got I'm the oldest. I got a younger brother, and then I got a half brother, half sister.
Okay.
I'm much older than them, but I pretty much, my brother, I'm like 10 and a half years older than he is. Huge gap there. So, but I got and love them to death. Some I talk to more than others, and hey, that's how it goes sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you visit often? It sounds like you do.
It really varies. Now that because I lived in Los Angeles 20 years, and then I live up here in Toronto now because my wife, she's Canadian, right? And we left in 2020, Los Angeles. So I'm on the same time zone. So, and also I can drive down there now, which we have several times drive down there. So, 14-hour to 16-hour straight. If you wanted to do that, you want to break it up, it's 2 days,
Yeah.
But when I lived in Los Angeles, I try to go back sometimes once, twice a year. Sometimes I wouldn't go back for a year and a half.
Yeah, that's common.
Or two.
Yeah.
I think one time was 2, So, I would try to go back here and there, and then sometimes I wouldn't. Sometimes I go back for Christmas, but it's also really cool to be in LA during Christmas because it's so quiet.
Was it?
Yeah, because everybody's not from there. So they all go back home.
Okay, so here's my next question to you. And this is really interesting to me. Did you like living out in Los Angeles? Did you like it?
Yeah, great question. For me, I looking back on it, I have to say yes. And then when it was time to go, it was time to go. Okay. Look, I learned. I mean, I was young when I moved out there. I didn't have any idea what I was getting into. I grew up really there. 20 years there.
Yeah, sure. Well, you moved out to Los Angeles when you were how old? 18?
I just turned 23.
Oh, 23.
Yeah.
Okay, I moved to New York City when I was 20. And oh, you grow up real fast.
You really do. What neighborhood you live in New York?
I lived in Brooklyn Heights, right by the promenade. And then I moved to Astoria, Queens, Greek neighborhood.
Wow. Do you miss it?
I miss being young. I
Uh,
miss that. You know what I mean? I love the city. But when you're poor, you don't have much to do. You can walk around, that's fine. But I found myself really missing home. As opposed to I don't know if I could see myself in Los Angeles. I don't know if I could have done it like you did. I don't
you know,
know.
I have the same feeling about New York. I don't know if I could have done it because I've been there so
Really,
many times. I've and the energy is, the energy is wow. I mean,
it's different.
it's New York. And I was like, man, I don't know about this because everything's on top of each other. And I'm like, it is nonstop there. If I had a place where it was a quiet sanctuary, yeah, right.
Hmm.
I almost did go there because at the time I was dating a wonderful young lady, and she was an actress, and she was going to move there for theater. Things didn't work out between us. I ended up moving to Los Angeles, and I think that was, I mean, looking back on it, that was what was supposed to happen. You know,
Okay.
yeah,
Cool.
that was what I liked it for a lot of reasons. Um I mean, I liked it till I didn't, you know. There's I I liked the aspect of the outdoors. I
Hmm.
mean, you can go from the beach to a mountaintop in the same day,
Yeah, that's
right?
crazy. Yeah.
They have 2,000-year-old trees.
Hmm.
I was just amazed at when I went to go see them. You know what I mean? It, it is such a variety there of landscape. I think it's a beautiful state. The experiences I had there, I don't know if I could label them good or bad because they are all purposeful. You know, there's times I should have been dead.
Seriously, what do you mean by that?
Um, there was times where uh, I, I either found myself in trouble, came close to trouble, or I was doing things or in places I should not have been.
Are we talking partying, getting out of control?
Partying, it was a thing. Also, there's times where you are you're because it's the Wild West, right? I mean, when I first moved there, um, it blew me away. It was like the book Lord of the Flies
Oh shit, I love that book.
with a bunch of late teens and 20s people, and there was a place on Barham Road in between right close to in between the Universal and Warner Brothers lot. There's Barham Road, and there's a apartment complex called Oakwoods at the time. I don't know what it is now, but I met a guy there who had friends there. I went there, and I mean, I maybe had been just a few weeks there, and I was like, look at all these like. Where's the adult supervision going on here? Like there's no adult supervision on there. I mean, I'm not and I was like, wow. I mean, you literally you could uh, uh, do what you want, and there could be consequences, yeah, but you could kind of do what you want. It's the Wild West in a way at that time, you
I
know.
saw similar things in acting school. I mean, most of us were kids at the time, 19, 20, 21. A lot of partying, man. A lot of drugs, more drugs than alcohol. People in the late 90s, early aughts, the thing was where you're rolling. What is that? Ecstasy?
Yeah,
Well, huge, huge.
oh, it was big at that time.
Yeah.
It was big at that time. What is the kids doing now? MDMA? I don't know. I left that world behind. But that was big. I had a roommate who sold it.
Yeah, sure.
He sold marijuana. He sold that. There were people smoking. This was before marijuana was legalized too. They were
Oh,
smoking all the
sure.
time. Booze was
Oh,
out there. Parties was out there. I mean, it was kind of all around. And here's a kid from small town East Tennessee, and I'm like, Wow. Yeah. Because I just I mean, how I got there was at the time I was at the University of Tennessee and an undergrad there, not knowing really what I wanted to do, not knowing what I wanted to study, and I was taking classes I didn't really care about, and because I felt like that's what I was supposed to do, and
Same thing here. Same thing.
same thing, right? Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I went to community college for a while, got like a 2 year associate degree, and then I transferred there, and one day my roommate and a best friend at the time, he was like, hey, they're having a theater audition, you want to go to it? And I was like, let's go anyway. And that was because what was it, maybe a month there, I saw my first like play.
Really?
Yeah, it was my first play. It was Picasso de la Pin and the actors in there, I loved the set, the lights, the acting, the characters. I was like, this is amazing. This is amazing. And so I went to my first theater audition, and I got 4 or 5 bit parts in there.
Oh, okay.
And the director at the time, he taught me about body and center of gravity and I was kind of learning there on the premise right there on stage, which I think is a phenomenal training ground for any actor. You have to do a play. You got to, and if you're not getting paid, the better. You know what I mean? But anyway, that's where I had my first acting experience, and then I took
wow.
a couple of acting classes, 2, 3, 4. There, I didn't segue to a theater degree. I was still doing like business class, and I was taking acting classes, and then I end up getting. They had a really great graduate program there, where they would bring in directors from Europe. And they had graduate students from all over the country there. It was a really great program, really talented group of actors. And sometimes they would do graduate plays, and they bring in undergraduates. One of my first roles with them was Spear Carrier number 2 in Midsummer Night's Dream, right? I didn't care. I just wanted to be there. I just wanted to be around it. That director was like a Romanian Yoda. Like, he could play any role in Midsummer Night's Dream like a drop of that hat. He was like 5'4".
Little guy, huh?
Little guy. Levi Chule was his name. And he was amazing. And that's where I learned a lot. I love being around those grads students. I'll never forget them. I'll never forget one moment where I was talking to one. Her name was Michelle. She was playing one of the leads, and she's like, Russell, so at that time I had done 2 or 3 plays for the undergrad department, and I had my first lead in a play. And she's like, Russell, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know, maybe nursing, and maybe acting, but have nursing as a backup. I just want.
Sorry, I can't see you as a nurse, but
well,
it can happen.
Sometimes things work out for your favor. Yeah. And she was like, Russell, don't you think if you have something to fall back on, you will? And after she told me that, I was like, wow, okay. And then we were there on campus, and there was a talent convention. Back then, I don't think it's still around. There was a talent convention called Pro Scouts. They would go around the country, and they would go to major cities, and they would have talent conventions for modeling and acting. All right. Okay. I'm 5'9". I'm not going to be in the modeling. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So and what they do is they go to smaller cities to recruit people and then invite you to the main.
Okay.
Right. So I got invited to go down to Atlanta. There is where I met my future manager in Los Angeles, who happened to be from that area. He would go there to talent conventions. This guy had an eye for talent. You know Jesse Plemons?
That sounds familiar. Why do I know that name?
Well, if you look him up, he's big. His career is amazing. He's taken off. JD Pardo, Chad Michael Murray. The list goes on. He had a great eye for talent, and his name is John Simmons. I hadn't talked to him for a long time. Anyway, and at that at the hotel in the convention room in the hotel, you get called to meet with agents or managers or not, and you look on the list, and I had like 3 or 4 asking to see me because you had to do a monologue, and I did a monologue that I got. I arrived there Friday. John Simmons, he came up to me. I didn't know who he was. He's like, "Hey, are you brave?" And I was like, I was wearing my cutoff camouflage shorts, and I was like, "Oh, I'm here, aren't I?" And he's like, "Here, do this for me tomorrow." So he gave me a monologue. I read it over and over and over it, and then you do it in front of them. And if they want to meet you, then they'll put your name underneath their company. I met with him, and he was like, "So Russell, what do you want to do?" I was like, "Well, I want to act. What do you mean?"
Yeah.
And he was like, "Well, you're not going to do it in East Tennessee if you want to be in TV and film." And this was before Atlanta really took off,
Okay.
right? This is 2000.
Right. It was a while ago.
Yeah. So it wasn't the mega place that it would become yet.
Right.
And so on my drive back from Atlanta back to my home, in a 4-hour drive, halfway through, I'm like, I'm gonna go.
So he offered you representation in Los Angeles, correct? Or
Not directly.
okay.
Not directly. He was like, "Hey, if you want to do this, you need, it's not going to happen here. If you want to be out there, then I'll
put a good word in, or
what's the phrase? It was a soft sign, right?
Okay.
I didn't sign anything.
Really?
He was like, if you want to come out there, then let's work on it. We'll give it a shot together.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Which is fair enough, because I mean, who am I? He just met me.
Okay. Yeah.
How many people wouldn't have done it?
A lot of people won't. It's scary.
It's terrifying.
It's a big leap.
The older I get, the more I realize that if I'd have waited, I wouldn't have gone.
Right.
If I was older now, if I was even a few years older, I wouldn't have gone.
Wow.
I really think, Jeff, it just happens. It's a couple of things that there's times that something comes across your path, and either through pure, wonderful, blissful ignorance and bravery, you say yes to it. It changes your life.
Amazing. So you went out to Los Angeles at 23 after that?
I did, because on that 4-hour drive back to my home, I was like, I'm going to go. I worked double shifts at a restaurant at the time. I saved up, I don't know, like $950, and I moved, and I left 3 weeks later.
Wow. That's impressive. Okay. Yeah. So now it gets interesting, because not only do you make that decision, which is huge, big step, but where do you go? Who's your contact? That guy? Is he your contact?
Well, the funny thing is that it took me 3 or 4 days to drive across there, across the country, and in my little beat up red Nissan Sentra, and you stay at places along the way. And then when I was driving in on the 10 freeway into Los Angeles, and I was just flabbergasted by the sprawl and how big it was. And I didn't know where I was, where to stay. I pulled over in some hotel, stayed. Yeah, I stayed there, and I called him. I'm like, "Hey, John, I'm here."
I'm here, buddy. Help me.
And he knew I was on my way, right? He knew I was on my way. And so I pulled up there, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm here." And he's like, "Great. Meet us." I think it was Wednesday up at my house. We're going to do an act. I do acting classes with my clients. Meet us there for acting class.
Okay.
Now, what was interesting about this manager is that he did it old school studio style, where he developed his talent, developed his actors.
Okay.
Because you go up there, and his partner in the business was a huge Warner Brothers music artist development guy. He developed the careers from Katie Lang to Madonna to Van Halen. Worked with Prince. I mean, he worked with. He's he's the guy,
Hmm.
one of the guys out there, right? And he was kind of the I guess the backing of the management company. And I got up there, so I met him, and little things, Jeff. When I met him, I walked around the table and I shook his hand. And he told me later, he's like, you walked around the table and you shook my hand. And then I saw you in acting class, and that's when I knew that I wanted you on our roster.
That's something. The little things, right?
Little things.
They teach you that.
Little.
We'll get into auditioning later.
Yeah.
But we got to continue on your story because
Yeah.
what you're talking about makes sense. Every little thing you do means something. Am I right?
Yeah, it does, because I this timing of you and I talking is, I think, very it doesn't surprise me, because we talked about this. We talked about doing a YouTube channel. You're doing yours, I'm doing mine, and I'm writing my next script for the video, and I'm talking about how to go from background to top of show guest star, what that involves. And one of the things I'm just, you're just writing, you're free throwing. One of the things that came to mind is big leaps, big steps. So moving out there was the big step. It's almost like you're telling whatever you believe in to be your bigger thing, God, higher power, universe, whatever it is that you think is something bigger outside of yourself, whatever that may be, whatever you want to use, maybe you do, maybe you don't believe in that, whatever. But when you make those big leaps, it's almost, it opens you up.
Mhm.
Your heart opens up your heart, because you're very vulnerable.
Yeah.
What am I doing?
Yeah.
It opens up your bravery like you've never done before. It opens up fear.
Were you desperate? Is that a desperation? Not so much.
I mean,
to make money. Well, what were you doing for money?
Well, when I got there, there was an actor strike, a SAG-AFTRA strike. So all the actors.
Good job, man. Good job. Yeah. Good
timing. Great timing already. So check.
Check.
All the actors were in the restaurants, and the only thing I knew how to do was work in a restaurant. So it took a while to find a job. And by the time I landed there, I mean, I had maybe $850, which I thought was a lot, but really isn't when you had to put down first and last month's rent.
That's right.
I end up being a roommate with two other guys. One of them he was from Texas, tall guy, good looking model guy. He was part of the roster of the managers, because he would say, the manager would be like, Russell, I need you to go with Jason. Jason's going to show you the ropes. And then, hey, Danny needs a roommate. You want to stay at his
Sure.
place? So he would, and so I stayed there. I had a sleeping bag. I stayed on a sleeping bag for like the first 3 or 4 weeks until I found a twin size mattress on the street. That roommate had a cat who didn't like me and peed in my sleeping bag multiple times. My sleeping bag smelled like cat pee.
Oh my God, that's great. It's not great, but it's great.
Before I landed in that apartment, this other Texas guy named Jason, I didn't have a place to stay for the first 2 weeks. I arrived there in the summer when everybody's on hiatus. He was PAing personal assistant at a production company. The production company was renting out a motel, abandoned motel. And he was like, Russell, because he tried to let me stay on his couch, but his roommates didn't want me to stay on his couch, because his roommates, I'll never forget this, Jeff. I was downstairs. It was at night. He goes upstairs. He talks to one of his roommates, says, hey, I got this guy. He just got here. Can he stay on the couch?
Yeah.
And the guy, I heard him go, who is this guy?
Yeah, who is this guy?
Well, his name's Russell. He's with my management and stuff. He's a good guy. He's like, no, I don't know him. He could be a dog off the street. He can't stay here. And that's when I realized, Jeff, I was like, oh, hell, I'm really on my own.
Yeah, that's scary, man. That's scary.
And so Jason was like, I got an idea. I'm interning for this production company. They're not there a lot during the summer right now, summer hiatus. What I can do is I can sneak you in because the offices were in hotel rooms. Oh, sorry, motel rooms. It was like a 2-story motel with a pool in the middle. Very, very Karate Kid. You know, the Karate Kid when he goes to, they moved from Jersey to California, and it was like a 2-story apartment with a pool.
Oh yeah, that's what it looked like.
It was like that.
That's awesome.
And he was like, so the offices were in hotel room, motel rooms. Motel rooms have couches and they have a shower.
Right.
Like, Russell, I can sneak you in there after 8 when nobody's there, but you have to be gone by 8 a.m.
Jesus Christ, bro. How long did you do this?
For like around 2 weeks. And I would take my sleeping bag and stuff, and I'd throw it into the closet of the motel room, and then I would get out of there before anybody would
amazing
would show up. And then I just kind of hung out in my car all day because I didn't know where to go or what to do, and I didn't know. I just didn't know. And I was just sitting around waiting for the next acting class, you know.
It's so funny. You can laugh about it now, sort of.
Yeah.
But you were young, right? You were there. It wasn't anybody putting a gun to your head. You were a young, budding actor. You were out there with starry eyes, bushy-tailed, ready to go. You were sleeping in a piss-stained, not a mattress, but a sleeping bag.
Yeah.
You didn't care. You did it. So how do you go from there to audition for film?
I did care. I did care, Jeff, about the sleeping bag because that was where I'm sleeping, and I can't believe that cat would keep doing that. I was so angry at the cat for doing that. Anyway, so
did you throw the cat? Did you throw it? You thought of it, I'm sure.
I know I thought about it. I wanted the cat to leave.
You just wanted to go.
I wanted to go. But and then eventually I did find a job because I end up, you know, once I moved in and shared that apartment in that room with the other guy, then I had an address, and then I had like a home base, and then I actually found a horrible serving job with a manager that was just on a power. Anyway, it was a horrible job, but it
is funny though. It's true. Actors are sort of actors / waiters. I was a waiter too for about a year and a half. That's what you do, right? You audition during the day, you wait tables at night. You don't sleep really. I mean, I was exhausted.
Were you?
Yes. So what? I was frustrated. And then after about 6 months of that and all the rejection, I produced an off-Broadway play. It was an Alan Ball play, Bachelor Holiday. I think it was a 1-act play. I produced that, started it. That was fun, you know. And then after that, I was like, you know what? I think that's it. I'm done. I'm just done. But I mean, yes, those of you wondering what actors do for work, most of the time they wait on tables. It just makes sense, right?
It makes sense on a few levels. One you already touched on, which was at that time. You don't have to do that now because everything's self-tape. But you had to keep your daytimes open.
Yeah.
You had to. You might get an audition the night before, and you got to be somewhere during the day. You know, and restaurants were flexible. Most of all waiters that you saw in restaurants in Los Angeles were actors. It was rare you found one that wasn't. I'm serious. That's what we did. It was quick cash for the least amount of time possible.
Was there anybody you worked with that made it as a wait at the time were waiters and became something? Anybody at that time before you started getting anywhere? Did you know anybody that sort of did some great things?
Not from that I can remember offhand of places I worked.
Okay, so and also you didn't go to an acting school. You just
there were people that I worked with starting out that had been like a guest star on a show.
Okay.
You know, right? There was actors that had booked some stuff in different restaurants where I was, because they were living the life, you know.
Okay.
So, also, the other thing about serving, being a waiter, is that you literally are in the act of service, which because you're serving people, which is not too different from acting, because you are in a service to the story, the service to the role, the character, right? So there's a lot of similarities there with
There
those.
is. I don't know about you, but I struggled the first few months being a server. I almost got fired because I was just so horrible at it. And then I just sort of, like with acting, I just got a little better and better. And eventually I was the head waiter and I was running the fucking place when the owner left. So it was just like, that's how, you're right. You sort of grow into a role. Waiting on tables can be very similar to acting. It's a good point. I like that.
I just want to say something else about that. I also saw how that industry, the restaurant industry, is its own thing. Like, I don't know if you had this experience, but you can get really caught up in hanging out after work.
Oh yeah, drinking.
The restaurant. Not every restaurant's like this, but at the time, the ones I was working with, most of them, you know, there was drinking, alcohol, hanging out after, partying after. Because you're working late, you're there with the people you spend a lot of time with. It just kind of happens.
Yep.
And that is almost, I guess why I wanted to bring that up was because, you know, I saw how that job, I allowed it to suck me in deep with the after hours, you know.
Oh, really? Okay.
I mean, not deep like it's a big deal. I just like, oh, I'm here. I am. I'm going to work. Working, you're going to work as much as you can. We're going to hang out afterwards. There was times when the priority wasn't like, hey, remember why you came here?
Oh, really?
Well, yeah, because you're just like, hey, I'm working. I'm making money. I'm in California.
Yeah.
You know, this is great. I'm in my 20s. This is fun. Here we go.
Yeah.
You know, so it's easy to like. That became your thing that you did the most, right? And then, of course, you would get burnout from that. I also saw actors who made it more important than acting in the aspect of like they would get promoted to manager. And then the managers had a lot more hours there. And so that means less time that you're dedicating to your acting. And then all of a sudden, you're a manager at a restaurant.
And that's it. You're now a manager.
You're now a manager, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, nothing at all.
The thing I'm saying is that most of us, that was not why we moved there, right? And I think what I'm saying is also it's easy to get sidetracked on things. You know, things are different now, and we talk about this more because you don't have to have that type of schedule. You can have a job that you can actually make a living doing, and you can self-tape anytime you want to.
Amazing.
You know,
Yeah.
So it's a different landscape now. But yeah, you said something about studying. Was I studying?
This is big with me. I argue back and forth with other actors that I've known in the past that say acting school is essential, and then you have others that say you don't need it at all. I'm on both sides. I feel that if somebody needs it, it can help them. If somebody needs to go to acting school, go. Get a technique. Have structure. There are others, they do it by learning how to just go on stage and do it. They don't need to take classes. Maybe they could take a few coaching classes if they need to. Dialect class, things like that. But I find it interesting that a lot of the actors that we know and love, most of them do have a technique and have been to acting school, as opposed to some of the others. Maybe they start up very young. They don't need to go. Their acting school was on set when they were kids. What the hell did you need an acting school for? What do you think as far as technique goes? Did you learn that in workshops, or did you acquire that along your path?
Yeah, good question. Well, when I was at the University of Tennessee, I took 3-4 acting classes there. That involved a semester. So that was a great way in.
Do you remember what technique they used?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't. It probably varied from teacher to teacher.
Sure.
Plus, I was doing stage plays there as well, so that was really immersive in a lot of ways.
Is there a technique you sort of heard every now and then? Method?
I don't remember it there. I don't remember there. Plus, everything was so new that you could have told me something I had no idea.
You'd be like, oh yeah, sure, sounds good.
Yeah. When I moved out to Los Angeles, that manager he was adamant about three or four things. Because you didn't have cell phones, so you had pagers.
Right.
Right. And for people listening who don't know what that is, you know, maybe because you're younger, fair enough. It's a black box you take around with you, and when somebody wants you, they'll call that number. It beeps, and then you have to get to a payphone or a phone somewhere to call.
Remember that, Russell? Payphones? Remember that?
I do. I remember those. And so he's like, Russell, few things. I need you to get a pager. I need you to drink more water, and I need you to get into a movement dance class.
Drink more water. Okay.
Yeah, because a lot of us had acne. A lot of us had bad skin, and he wanted us to drink more water.
Hydrated, yes. Smooth skin, sure.
He wanted us to drink more water, and then also he taught 1 to 2 acting classes a week of his clients. Like, he really developed them, right? And he gave them scenes. We'd do scenes, and I am not familiar with what method maybe he had, you know, but yeah, I was taking classes with him, and that was every week. We'd take a class. I've my whole time in Los Angeles, even when I wasn't working as an actor, it was very rare that I went too long without studying. I'm sure there was times when I didn't study for a while. I don't know, a few months or something. But for me, I enjoy doing it because
it keeps you sharp.
Well, if
you're not working, it keeps you sharp.
I'm one of the old school type guys, Jeff. Meaning the deep reverence for the origin of U.S. acting from New York, brought over by the Russians.
Yep.
Right. I have deep reverence for that. You know, like when I have deep reverence for mentors and teachers that we are standing on the shoulders now.
Yeah.
Right. I was so curious about it all.
Me too.
And I wanted to be in class.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong. There's sometimes I was like, I just want to party or hang out. I don't want to go. There was times when that was there too, but usually I was in class, you know.
Yeah. At the American Academy, we had to do ballet. We had to do the Alexander technique. We did yoga every day. We sat on the floor. We got one with the earth, one with our chakras, all that stuff. You know what I mean? Yes. They told us that your body is an instrument, and it must be finely tuned. It makes sense. There's a general Broadway dialect they would try to teach us. I had an accent. I never thought I had an accent, but as far as they're concerned, you do. Everybody does. So, I mean, there are certain ways to improve yourself. So you taking classes, even when you're not working and even when you are working, to you, that's important. That's what I wanted to know.
Yeah, it was. And I had, I was fortunate with the teachers I had. I you know, there was maybe one teacher that I had that started off really great, and then it didn't end so well, but that had a lot to do with that teacher, and maybe they weren't so well, you know. I had one teacher that his name was Eugene Lazarev. He was the first Russian to play Stanley Kowalski at the Moscow Art Theater.
Whoa, that's a big deal. Do you know what year that was?
I don't. Okay. But also he was barely a stone throw from Anton Chekhov.
Wow.
Right? Because he knew Anton Chekhov's wife.
Wow.
Right?
How old was this guy? You knew him.
Well, I don't know the age of when, because this was I don't know his age at the time. I mean, he had success here. He was in Nicolas Cage's movie Lord of War. He was
good movie. Okay.
He was the Russian general. He was also in Iron Man, where he played Mickey Rourke's dying father.
Before we go any further,
yeah,
I'm a huge fan of Mickey Rourke. You have no idea. I see him today, and he's been through a lot of shit. Don't get me wrong, but there's something about Mickey Rourke. He is fascinating.
Hey
Am
man,
I right? I mean, he is just something else.
Eugene told us a story of him because Eugene went to go work on this film. I don't know if it's
No kidding.
Iron Man 1 or 2. Anyway, whichever one Mickey Rourke's in. And Eugene plays his dad dying in a hospital. And he didn't see Mickey Rourke for a while. He was laying there getting ready. And then Mickey Rourke comes in to the room. And this is what Eugene says. And he just gets down. He starts rubbing Eugene's feet and his legs. And he starts rubbing his feet like a son would a father that's on his deathbed. He just started, and he was right there with Eugene the whole time. And they had this great scene together.
Wow. Amazing. Are you a fan of Inside the Actors Studio back in the day with James Lipton?
I watched that sometimes. I watched
Okay.
it. Sometimes. I wasn't religious about it or anything, but I do.
Okay, if you want to treat yourself, the best one he ever did was with Mickey Rourke.
No, really?
The worst Inside the Actors Studio I ever saw was with Robert De Niro. It goes one end to the other. But Mickey Rourke is one fascinating son of a bitch. He also has a lot of demons. He'll admit it. He's been through a lot as well, and he brings it into his characters. Not only is he extremely talented, but he's got all that sort of vulnerability. That's why we love Brando so much. He was very masculine, yet you saw his vulnerability. You could do that. So you bring up Mickey Rourke, and I start going somewhere else because there's certain actors that just do that for me.
I wrote that down actually because I would like to see that. That's high praise. That's the best.
You should. The Johnny Depp one was good. I've seen them all. But that's great. Okay, so acting school, acting classes, technique, doing something, keeping your juices flowing was important. So how do we go from that to auditioning? This, in my show, for me personally, is fucking huge. If you don't have strong connections, and even if you do have strong connections, you still have to audition. You go from here to there. You have to make an impression. The people that audition well, guess what? They get cast. And sometimes it's not just talent. It's something you do in the audition that grabs the attention. You may not even be perfect for that role, but there's something that you do, something that they see and they go, you got to have him in there for one more try. So I'm asking you, you had success. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of budding hopeful actors that go out to Los Angeles, you have no idea, that fall flat on their face because they don't know how to audition. What's the key? You were successful. What'd you do?
So there's 1,000 different ways, 1,000 different stories.
Well,
right. So
let's do it this way. How many auditions did you say go on before you had success?
Okay. What helped? You know that saying that they have is like, it's who you know.
Yeah.
Right. It's who you know in the business. I don't think that's totally true. I think it's who knows you. Because look, you and I know Steven Spielberg. Right? I know his movies.
You know his name.
I know Steven Spielberg. Yeah, I've seen his movies. I've seen this one and this one. Yeah. He doesn't know who the hell I am. He has no idea who I am. He has no idea. He has no idea.
Now, did you ever run into him just by chance?
Oh, God. I had a chance to say hi to him, and I chickened out.
Oh, I would have done the same thing, bro.
I was a bartender at Universal City Walk, which is like the theme park connected to the studios. There was people who worked in the theme park who would come into our restaurant and they would have some drinks. There was one guy who worked at Amblin. Amblin was located on Universal City Walk. He said, Russell, you want to come? You want to come in? You want to come in? You want to come in? I was like, yeah, let's go. We go in there. He's showing me around Amblin. I'm like, this is amazing. This is so great. I see Spielberg walking down the stairs.
No fucking way.
And he goes, hey, there's Steven Spielberg. I looked over, and then it was like when my son does something he knows he's not supposed to do, and he looks away real quick. You know what I mean? He looks to see if you're looking, then he looks away real quick. I looked over, and then I looked away real quick. And I didn't go up to say hi to him. Mm-hmm. It was a moment. It was just like the three of us in this area. Nobody else was around. was daytime. I've never forgotten that. And what's great about that moment is like, I'm never going to let that happen again. I'm going to not force it, but there's a moment for me to say hi to someone. I'm going to do it, unless it's not organic, or unless I feel like it's forced, or I'm trying to get something from them.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it then, but I wish that I would have said hi. Of course, in my head, Jeff, I'm like, I would have said hi. I would be in Band of Brothers.
Yeah.
And then he would love me so much, and then he would cast me in his other ones, and then it's, of course, your mind goes there, but it's those little moments of like to go say hi again when I'm not desperate, because I've done it before when I'm desperate and it reeks. They can smell it, like the moment you get close. I've experienced it on that end. I know I've been like that with other people, and I'm like, oh, Russ, you gotta relax, man. You gotta relax. I can't approach people when I'm trying to get something. I've done it many times. Can't tell you when it's actually worked. You know what I mean? It's obvious, and those people pick up energies, and they're like, I don't want to be around this guy, and I don't blame them.
Okay, quick question before we move on, because you brought it up. You being on the other side, your character, Rules of Attraction, was very popular, okay? And probably shortly after that, you got noticed a lot. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. How did you deal with that? That's the fame thing coming out.
Okay.
A lot of people don't deal with that well.
Okay, so what would you like to do? Because I want to be of service to folks listening about the auditions.
Let's do that first.
Yeah, and then, but I also want to talk.
Okay, so how about this? When we get to Rules of Attraction, we'll talk about that.
Okay.
That sound good?
You and I can jab. We can go on to whatever, man.
No, but seriously, yeah. Auditions is so. I want to know is there a secret?
Okay, good. I got into rooms because that manager that I took a risk on, he took a risk on me. He had relationships in Hollywood with agencies, so he could say to his relationships with agents, I'm getting to the audition, but I have to get to where we get a chance, because it's about who knows you, right? So by him knowing me, right, he was able to get me into to audition for agents. Agents have relationships with casting.
Okay, let's stop right there, because I think a lot of people don't know that. You had to audition to get a freaking agent. They just don't, right? No. Oh, you're cute. You're attractive. I'll sign you. No, you have to audition for them.
Most of the time, yes. Yeah. I'm sure they do what you just said as well, right? I'm sure they do that. But at that time, because I didn't have a reel, which is kind of like basically your actor's business card, which we could talk about that later, which is also what I'm going to talk about on that YouTube video that I'm writing, because it's really important, because it's like, oh, I need a reel to get an agent, but I need footage to get a reel, and I can't get footage unless the agent can get me auditions so I can get footage. So it's all this that can get really wonky, right? But there's simple ways to cut through that. But he got me a audition with this agency. I had to go in there and do a dramatic and a comedic monologue. I went in there, and it was the dramatic monologue that got it for me, because it was deeply personal.
Mm-hmm.
And I just poured myself out in that. Wow. And that ability to be vulnerable, to be able to share the emotion, to be able to share that grief, brokenness, to be able to have tears. Tears doesn't mean you're an actor, but no, it was deeply, right? It was deeply personal to me what I was writing, and it just kind of came when I would do that piece. That show,
you felt that just now. I saw that. You felt that.
Yes.
You went there for a second. You went back. That's awesome.
I did, because I remember doing the monologue straight at the guy who's the head of the agency. I didn't know he was the head of the agency, and I did the monologue to him.
Do you mind me asking, where do you go? Is it a childhood memory or is it something you invented?
Great question. And I feel like as we get older as actors, we start to pick what works and not rely on just one thing, right? At that time, I used a relationship with my father.
Fair enough.
And I told my manager before I went into the audition, I was like, John, before I go in, can you just say Russell, your father?
Jesus Christ, that's all it takes, right?
And they're like, Russell, they're ready to see you. I get up and he goes, Russell, son. And I turn around, I go, yeah. He goes, your father. And I was like, I looked at him, I nodded, and then I went in there. And then I did it to there. It was a deeply personal piece, and I just poured it out because look, people crave that connection, and they're going to crave it even more now the AI's here.
Oh gosh, I don't even want to get into that.
We don't have to. I don't want to. I've been through that with myself internally.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something, man. They're going to want that human connection, and I'm not going to get in the weeds on that. I'm just saying, for me on that audition, I auditioned for them with monologues, and then they signed me.
Amazing.
And then so they are almost, many of your audience probably know this or not, but it's not so much they're the gatekeepers. That is a term I understand, but also they have these relationships with casting that they've cultivated for years. If I throw my headshot and resume into the basket at a casting office, fine. Maybe they will see it.
Bullshit.
And they'll be like, oh, let come in. But they also need somebody going, hey, I want you to take a look at this guy.
The
agent makes that phone call. Or they make that pitch in the email, right? And they help you get into the door, right?
Getting into the door of the room. I call it the actor's room because it really is a room. And to get in that door is fucking hard. Now, staying in that door is just as hard. Auditioning, now you're in the room. So you take all that stuff you learned and you do a lot of improv.
Well, yeah, I mean, the first audition they gave me was for one of the top 3 casting directors in Los Angeles. And after I left there, the note I got from my agent was that I was green.
Okay.
The casting director was like, hey, he has no idea what he's doing. He's green. He needs more training.
Right.
Because I didn't. I remember I was trying to do some type of card trick or something horribly. I dropped the cards. It was, and she's like, it was Jane Jenkins at the time.
Okay.
If you looked up Jane Jenkins' resume and if you saw the blockbusters that she cast, like she was top 3, if not top 2, easily in Los Angeles. That was my first one. And I fell on my face. Like I went down, man, down. But what helped was you just got to keep doing it, and then I would work on the audition, get coached by my manager.
Okay.
Right, that helps. They knew what to do. I did not. Right, they would help me about what to say and what to do when I came in. When I would leave, they'd tell me, Russell, the audition, because this was in person, right? Where I think self-tapes are wonderfully convenient. You'll talk to a lot of actors and go, man, I wish it was in person, because they give you redirects right there in the room and they get to meet you.
You get to meet them. You get to see you. There's a relationship.
And also during that time of the industry, they didn't call in 1,000 people. Nowadays, there's 1,000 people. Like, let's say a co-star. I did this one casting workshop. This guy, he showed me how many people submit for a co-star role, meaning somewhere around 5 lines. He got 1,000 submissions. He only had time to look at around 600.
Is it because it's oversaturated? There are so many people that want to be actors now. I mean, you look at Instagram, you ever go on there, see how many actors are out there? It's ridiculous.
I do, and I see them giving a lot of bad advice. And
Oh, I'm sure they do.
I see a lot of people who haven't done anything, trying to get actors to pay for money so they can teach them something they know nothing about.
Right.
And that was one of my mandates as being a teacher and coach, is like, I know I'm on the front lines. I don't like when actors get taken advantage of. Right. So, where was I? So they call you in person. So that means there's only so much time in the day. That means that they only might call in 20 people for a role.
Yeah.
Versus now, where they'll try to look at maybe 100 auditions. Right.
Yeah.
And that's a lot on them to be looking at that many auditions and to see the same thing over and over, like 100, 200. You ask some of them, they'll probably look at more. Some of them really try to look at as many as possible. But there's you had a question, is it because there's more actors nowadays or not? I don't know. It's a good question. I do know when I moved to Los Angeles, you had to move to the place where it was happening. I could not be in Clinton, Tennessee, trying to be an actor. You had to go where it was happening. Nowadays, you can be 2 hours from a major market, right? And you could do that. You don't have to leave your home, right? I think there's pros and cons to that. So there's probably people who have there's more access probably to a chance to get out there. So maybe there is more actors.
Yeah.
Maybe there is, because nowadays there's film production all over the country, right? You got, I bet if you looked up in Cleveland, there's an agency.
Oh yeah.
Right. There's production hubs all over the place, so, and so there probably is more, but at the time they can only call in so many people because there's only so much time in the day. Right. So when you got that audition, you were one of many, and you really had a chance to meet them. And so they could know you.
That's right.
I can know who the casting director is. I look them up on IMDB. I see their credits. Great. I know them. They don't know me, Jeff. They don't know me. They don't know me until they can see my work or they meet me.
Right.
And then they know me. Right. Then the relationship starts happening. For example, I auditioned for CSI, the original with back in the day. I auditioned 13 times for that show before I booked a guest star.
Wow. 13 times.
Yes.
Wow. Well, that's building a relationship though.
Well,
right?
that tells you that they really like your work and they're going to keep bringing you back to find you something. That's the casting directors doing that.
You're
right.
And
Her name's Carol Kreitzer, who kept bringing me in for that. And I mean, it's happening to me now. There's a show called Sheriff Country, and they film up here in Toronto. Right. I last year, I counted it. I auditioned 13 times for that one.
Amazing.
Right. But there's going to be another season. They got renewed. Right. So something, it's got to happen. It's got to happen. You know what I mean? If you just keep doing it, because it really is about the work. Right. The pretty face is fine for the first 30 seconds. Right. I had a friend, the tall guy, model, really handsome guy. They even got him in the room to read for the first Spider-Man movie back in the day.
Wow.
But the acting wasn't there. It is about the work.
It is. Yep. Now, there are some actors out there, and you and I both know, that aren't that great, but they still get work because they're pretty, or they really do know somebody that might be, but that is far and few between. You're right. Most of the people working today are very talented. They know what they're doing, and they're there for a reason. Am I right?
You see some of the work that people are doing. Look, there's going to be talented people in whatever, and non-talented people in whatever profession you get. Right.
And is that opinion though? Because I may love an actor and you're like, yeah, he's all right. Or you may love someone. I'm like,
Very good point. Very, very good point. It could be a combination of things. It could be like, okay, so you going in the room, you meet the casting director. They could be like, man, there's something I see in him. I really like his essence and who this person is, but he's just not there yet. So they would give the note to the manager that Russell needs to work on this and this.
oh, really? Okay, that's good to know what to work on.
Right. Well, Russell came in and he was too chatty and he was trying to kiss my ass.
Seriously?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Or Russell came in and he seemed very nervous.
Oh, well, that was me.
Right? Yeah. He seemed nervous. Very rarely did I ever get one that said I was unprepared.
Okay.
I'm sure I know I got a one or two that could have been more prepared for, but usually I was prepared when I went in there. And you know, you go in there and you know, and they would always do the same thing, you know, hi, and you talk a little bit and they go, hey, do you have any questions? And sometimes it took me a while to be like, Russell, you don't have any fucking questions. Stop, pretend like you do, just to talk to them longer to make it seem like you know what you're talking about. So I would ask them questions because I felt like I had to. And it would just delay the process.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because really they want you, if you have one, great, but let's get to it, because if they see something that they like, then they redirect you in there. They redirect you. They're like, I like what you did. I see what you happened. I need this right here. Can you do that? Great. Here we go. Rolling action. Right. So that's what it was then. It's not like that now. So, but you do develop relationships with casting in today's world by, I tell this with the actors that I work with. I'm like, look, I can't promise you that you're going to be opposite of Viola Davis in a movie. I can't promise you that you're going to be a series regular on HBO. I can help, because this is what I live by and what works for me. I can help you be like that go-to actor your agent loves to submit, because they're like, hey, you know what? Russell always prepared. He always gets back to me. Every tape I see him do is solid. I can help that. I can help, because I live by this too. I can help you be the actor that the casting director keeps bringing in, because they're like, they're good. They're a good actor. I like their work. I have to find them something. Right? Because you get casting that does that when they do the ones that do their job like that. They're like, I love this actor. I want to find him something. I want to find him something.
Right.
They might send you an audition that you're like, dude, I'm not 65 years old. Why are they sending me this? But I've learned over the years, do it anyway.
That's what they say. Yes. You'll learn something. Am I right?
They might not really know that they want a 65-year-old, right?
Possibly.
Right? They might not really. They might be open. Also, you're really developing a relationship with that casting director, right? That's how you do it. That's one of the ways to do it. You can also find ways to. There's ways you can find people's emails. Sometimes they have it right there on IMDb.
They do. Right. If you have IMDb Pro.
Correct? Yeah. If you have IMDb Pro, it's right there. You can find their emails, but use it wisely. Like really use it wisely. And don't make it what you can get from them. Right? Like I've moving up to Toronto. It's a major hub here. There's a lot of things going on. There's huge casting directors up here, just like in Atlanta. Like Toronto might be one of the biggest markets in North America now, right? With the decline that's happening in the States, right? So I had to introduce myself to people here. And I knew that every self-tape had to be good. It was the first time they're seeing me. Right. And then towards the end of the year, I would find their email and I'd be like, hey, so-and-so, I want to say thank you for bringing me in for this project and this project. I appreciate you having faith in actors and seeing my work and giving me this opportunity. Happy holidays. Thank you a lot. And hey, I just saw that show that you cast. I loved it. It was really good.
There you go. There is.
Right. Yeah.
No.
Just that, and do it sparingly. Right. So that's the world we kind of live in now, where you don't get to see them face to face and so forth,
Amazing.
right?
You've been in this for over 25 years, man.
Yes.
Your first acting credit, What Matters Most with Chad Allen, correct? Okay. Now, that was a film? That was a film.
That was
TV movie?
that was an independent film.
Okay.
They did it in Vega, Texas, which is north of Amarillo. At that town had a population of 950 people.
Whoa. Okay.
The lady who directed it, she also wrote it.
Okay.
And it was her last film before she passed away from breast cancer.
Oh, wow. Oh, boy.
I met her daughter, who became a friend of mine when I first moved out there.
Okay.
Right? I was this stray dog that just arrived.
Mm-hmm.
I think I met her at a bar or somewhere. We hit it off, became good friends, and she's like, "Hey, my mom is doing this independent film that takes place in Texas. You're a Southern boy. We need a Southern boy. You want to come in and read?"
Perfect. Nice.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you had to go where it was happening.
Amazing. And
right?
you're the type of person as well. You're approachable. You can mix in. There are people I struggled mixing in, creating conversation, staying in conversation, staying out late, networking. I think that's essential, and I think that's why you may have got this, correct? It's because you're out there.
But unbeknownst to me, though, I was just out at a place having fun, and I met her and her friend there, and I was with a buddy, the guy who smuggled me into his production office. Right? We went out, we met them, we hit it off. We became friends, and she was like, "Hey, come read." She had me read for her mom had me read for the lead. I had no credits. I was green. She's like, "I love him, but I have a different role." She offered me the supporting role.
Okay.
Right? She was like, "Okay, great. Can you read for this?" Something like that. I read for it, which was a blessing because I had never been in a film before.
Great experience.
Also, the supporting's great.
Mm-hmm.
Because I got to be on a set for the first time. Also, directors and producers, they work really hard to get that project going. So they need people that they can depend on.
Right.
They got money on the line. They got their career on the line. They need people they can depend on. Why would they want to cast me as a lead of an independent film?
It's a stretch.
Right. Chad at the time had done Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, which was a huge hit show at the time. He was the lead, right? And they had other supporting characters in there that kind of helped, get some attention. But it was my first role, and I got Taft-Hartley into the union, meaning I was non-union, but it was a union project. And so to get Taft-Hartley, I don't know. I don't even know if that's. I'm sure it's still possible.
Okay.
You either had to book a commercial, and they really wanted you in the commercial, so they would Taft-Hartley you, meaning that they would write to the SAG after and say, "Hey, I really need this guy. He's our guy because of this," because you have to justify why you're not hiring a union actor.
Okay.
So I got that through this independent film, right?
Great.
And that was a huge first hurdle. And this doesn't happen all the time because I moved out there in June. By that September, October, I had done that film and I got into the union. I became union eligible.
God bless.
It was a huge hurdle. And so that union card is what also made it enticing when I went to go audition for the agents.
I'm sure.
Right. So they're seeing what I can do as an actor, and I'm already in the union.
For example, is that how you got grounded for life?
That was a few years later, but I never would have got that if I wasn't in the union.
Okay. That was a big show.
Yeah, there was a big show, live studio audience, right?
Yeah. Oh, really?
It was like doing theater.
Nice.
It was the same episode that Ashton Kutcher was on, which was a big deal. Also, the director of that show, Denny Gordon, she's a huge director in TV.
Okay.
Like the shows that she's directed are huge. But anyway, so because it's that catch-22. How do I get into the union? Well, you got to book a union role? How do I
Right.
get a union role? You got to get an agent. How do I get an agent? You got to be in the union. How do I get in the union? You got to book it. Like it's
You
nuts.
got to get lucky. Like you told me on the phone, you got to get lucky a little bit.
You gotta have luck. That's not me. If you don't believe me, I saw an interview with Kate Blanchett, and she was like, there's a lot of things. Luck is one of them. Luck, whatever you define luck as, you define it as fate, luck. If you define it by preparedness meets opportunity, however you define it, it involves that, whatever that is.
Amazing. Was there anything of significance between Grounded for Life and your first credit? And if not, we could go to Rules of Attraction and how you got that, dude. I want to know. I heard that I can't say her last name, but the main character, Shannon Schatzman, Ushanen.
Shannon Sossaman.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Rumor has it she was in the audition room when you auditioned. Is that correct?
I don't
That was a long time ago.
I don't remember her in there. I remember only 3 people in there, which was the casting director, Rick Montgomery, the producer, Greg Shapiro, who's the same guy who also produced Hurt Locker and other huge movies. And this was way before Hurt Locker, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Roger Avery. Those were
Director Roger Avery, who just happened to be on Joe Rogan this past week. Did you know that?
That was his second time because he was on there a few months back with Quentin Tarantino.
Yes.
And they were just talking film. They were talking shit.
He's a fascinating guy, Roger.
I just recently reconnected with him.
Did you?
Because I don't remember how. And I sent him an email, and it was great to hear from him. And we've kept an email correspondence. And he was like, because he was doing some tours around the country, talking about his films from Killing Zoe to Rules of Attraction and so forth. They were having screenings of that. He was like, Russell, every time we go there, people still laugh at that scene. And
yeah, they do.
I would love to have Roger when I get enough subscribers to my YouTube channel. I want to have him on there and talk to him. I think it'd be a great episode.
Well, from what I could tell, he's a big fan of yours. He is. He loved your work, and he's professed it through many channels. So, is it true that you did something a little different in your audition, or did you keep coming back? How many callbacks were there? I'm sure it was a difficult process, correct? Your first big one.
The funny thing that is, so, all the auditions different, right? Like I told you how I went 13 times in for CSI. Yeah. This was Rules of Attraction. I had, at that time, I had only had 3 credits when I went in there to do it. I had that film we just talked about. Right after the film, that was in the fall. In the spring, at that time, was what they called pilot season.
Mm-hmm. Busy season.
Right. Now they still have it. It's not as big as it was then.
Right.
Because you have streamers now. That used to be only the major networks.
Right.
And that was a busy time of year, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was my first pilot season, and I booked my first pilot for CBS. And I went to London for a month to film it. Anyway, I mean, that's a whole other story, because I was in the waiting room to go in front of the network and the president of CBS to do the audition after, many layers of auditioning before you get to that. It came down to me and 2 other actors for this role that could, it could have changed your life if the series went. And the 2 actors that were waiting, anyway, they try to sabotage me.
Are you serious? In what way?
We were in the waiting room, and on the other side of the door is like an auditorium with about 50 people in there from CBS, right? Okay. Just imagine if it was 50 people from Netflix or the big, whatever. And the president of CEO was in there. I'm out there waiting, and these 2 guys, I think they asked me a question like who I was or how many pilot seasons I did or something. I was like, oh, I don't know. This is my first. Oh,
Motherfucker.
this is my first. Isn't it
No, it's
great?
not, liar. Yeah.
And they kind of knew each other, so they were talking about all the work that they had done and are doing and the shows they were on, and they were talking loud enough to make sure I heard how experienced they were as actors.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't talk to me.
Fuck them.
But the thing is that I kept focused on what I had to do, because I was playing a soldier during World War II, and he has a breakdown. I was focusing on the work. So they didn't bother me, because I was like, this, I have to hit this. They called me in there to audition twice because they wanted to see if I could do it again.
Really interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
So after the pilot, then I booked JAG, which was a big show at the time. 20 seasons, one of those CBS things, like, you know, what they got, NCIS. It was before then or something like that. Anyway, that was a big top of show guest star. So I only had 3 credits going into Rules of Attraction audition. I went in there. I can't remember if this was a callback. I'm sure it was. I don't remember. Was it? I went in there, but I told you there was only 3 people in there.
Okay.
And as I was reading it, you know, there's a part in the film where I'm putting my foot on Ian Somerhalder's crotch.
Right, in the dinner scene.
Yes. And so we were doing the dinner scene and the audition, and I had my foot out, and I was kind of playing it. And who was I reading with? Was I reading with Roger? I think I was reading with Roger. And I was kind of had my foot out. I wasn't touching them or anything, but I kind of had my foot out. Like
close enough.
Yeah, I was kind of doing it towards them, and I couldn't. And the scene was closing. I was supposed to get up and leave. I couldn't get my shoe.
Oh, I heard about your shoe. You threw it at him or something?
I couldn't get the shoe back on, and I couldn't get it back on, and I was frustrated. So I kind of kicked it. I flung it, and it hit Roger. And I looked at the shoe. He looked at the shoe. I looked at him. He looked at me, and it was like. And then I got up and I was going to go and leave. I was going to walk out the door and leave, which you shouldn't do. You know, don't be. It was kind of arrogant or whatever you want to say. I was just like, I've done my audition. I'm going to leave.
I'm done.
I'm out. But you know, it's kind of fit the guy. You know, it kind of.
I guess you're right. It does fit the character.
But I walked out of the door. I stopped and I go, I'm gonna go back and tell them thank you. I took a couple of steps. I go, I'm gonna go back and tell them thank you. I opened the door. I was like, hey, thank you for having me. Like, Russell, come back in. So I think I did a redirect on it, and then
what's that? I'm sorry, redirect. What's that? I never heard of that.
Well, you would do your scene that you prepare, and then a casting director would give you a redirect, meaning a redirection. They're like, hey,
Okay.
I like you did there. Could you not be happy there? Could you be more angry?
Sure.
Or I like what you did. Could you take a pause before that?
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Which was so valuable with the in-person auditions, because they could tell you what they were looking for.
Correct.
And the things they needed to see. That's why actors get so frustrated nowadays.
Oh, sure they do. Yeah.
Because you tape something and you send it out there and you never hear from it.
Yeah.
Right? So, and you know, that's a journey us actors have to get over, of really leaving it there and moving on. It's hard to do, sometimes easier than others. You know, it's brutal. It can be really brutal. It's a whole other mental game.
Man.
Once you do it, to let it go. Right?
So when did you find out you got the role? Did you get a phone call? How did it work?
I was up at Griffith Park Observatory, which is where they filmed Rebel Without a Cause with James Dean.
No shit.
I was up there.
That's
I had a friend in town, and I took my friend up there to see the Griffith Observatory, and I got a call saying, Russell, you got the role.
So you had a cell phone at the time?
I did have a phone. I did have a phone. Yeah.
Wow.
I did have a phone.
Russell, you're getting big time.
You're moving up. You're moving up, man. You're moving up. You know, you're moving up. Yeah.
So you got the call that you got.
No pager for this guy.
Now, did you know that was going to be a pretty big project? Or were you sort of like, whoa, this might be interesting?
No, I didn't know anything.
You didn't know anything.
No, I didn't.
You didn't meet anybody auditioning that was like, oh, wow, there's Ian Somerhalder, whatever his last name is. Somerhalder?
No, I hadn't. I didn't read the book. I didn't know anything about the book.
Like, did you know other cast members were in there?
I think, but before I went in, I think
Eric Stoltz. I mean, that's a big name.
I didn't get to see him. I didn't get to see him. When I got there, though, they told me that, you know, Faye Dunaway and Susie Kurtz were going to be doing the scene.
Dude, wow.
Because I don't think I knew until I saw the call sheet.
No shit.
Right.
Okay.
Maybe my manager told me. I wasn't sure. I wasn't familiar with Ian at the time. I didn't really know the weight or gravitas. I knew that Faye Dunaway and Susie Kurtz were icons.
Well, Faye Dunaway, definitely. I mean, come on, man.
You know,
Network. I mean,
right?
Kidding me? She's amazing. I heard she's hard to work with. Is that true?
You know what, though? Man, I had a great moment with her, though.
Did you? You did.
You know, everybody has different experiences with different people. We're all human. It depends on the day. You know what I mean?
That's true. That's true.
I know people were nervous about her coming on, and it was the bed scene with me and Ian. We danced on the bed. It was the aftermath of that. Anyway, we were doing the bed scene, and she came in. He and I are sitting on the bed, chatting. It was in between takes. She comes in. And she goes, "Hello, boys." I was like, "Hello, Miss Dunaway."
Was that the first time you saw her?
Yeah.
Okay.
And she goes, "How's it going?" And I was like, "What? I mean, pretty good. I think we're good, pretty good." And she's like, "It's a lot harder than what people think it is, don't you think?" I was like,
really? Wow.
I was like, "Yes, Miss Dunaway." She's like, "A lot goes into it and people just don't see, don't you think?" And I was like,
she was telling you this?
Yeah, she was like, "It's harder than you think, you know."
Oh, okay, now I'm going to ask you this.
Yeah.
Was she serious or kidding around?
She was serious.
Really? Yeah, she's hardcore.
She was a veteran icon, master actor, talking to two young actors, telling them it is effing hard, boys. It is effing hard. And she was also, you know, and it was even harder for her being a woman. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, sure.
So, right? You know, and so you know, and she was like, it's much harder than what people think it is. And I was like,
that's true. That's absolutely true.
She was like, it takes a lot of work, don't you think? I was like, yes, Miss Dunaway, I do. You know, and then that was my first meeting with her. You know, and I fell in love with her because she came in there and talked to two young actors, one of which had barely any experience, and all of a sudden you're in a room with an Oscar winner.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, man.
Come on.
You were 25, 26?
Yeah, 25, something like 26. That.
Okay, can we talk about we're going to talk about first. Okay. My mind's kind of swimming right now, so I'm going to try to take this little by little because I don't want to miss anything. I love this scene so much. You have to understand, when I hear the song Faith, I think of this scene. And I love that song forever. But from what I heard, you had some downtime, and Roger said that you kind of look like George Michael with those sunglasses on. Is that true?
He had something that he came up that he wanted to do on the day.
Okay.
And he goes, "Russ, I want you to be initiated into the group." I was like, "Oh, great."
Okay. Initiated?
Oh, great. What? He's like, "I want you to be initiated into the family, into the production. I want you to get on the bed and I want you to dance." I was like, okay. And he was like, we're gonna play some music and I want you to get there and just dance. And I was like, do I have to strip? He's like, "No, you can keep your clothes on. You keep your clothes on, whatever you want. Don't get down. Keep. If you're going to take your clothes off, don't leave your underwear on. you know. But if
Oh yeah, you took your jacket off though.
yeah, I took my pants off. But he was like, you don't have to strip, but if you do, make sure you keep your underwear on. Okay.
Okay.
And I was like, okay. And I was like, what song am I going to dance to? He goes, Faith, of course.
Like it's a given. Everybody does this. You know this.
And I was like, because I was a huge Michael. I don't know if he knew this, but I was a huge George Michael fan.
You were.
Yeah, hell
Okay.
yeah.
Not
I would
Roger.
sneak into my room and listen to Father Figure and I Want Your
Oh,
Sex
sure.
on repeat. I love George Michael. I love
Me
that
too.
album. And
Yeah.
I would hide and listen to I Want Your Sex because I was like, oh my God, this is so dirty and naughty. And I want to, you know, and I would be in my room and I would be like dancing to like Father Figure and I'd be like doing the thing. You know what I mean? So to be able to dance to a George Michael song in a movie was like, I was scared to death, but I was like, this is a dream, man.
Dude, you were having fun on that set. You were having fun.
Look, hey man, I was scared to death.
It didn't look it.
Well, he was like,
You look pretty fucking comfortable, dude. Very comfortable.
Look, I went up there and I was like, I'm just going to go for it. Because I remember standing there, and it was hot, and you're sweating. He's like, you ready? And I go, let's just do it. And so we did it in one take.
That's one take.
One take.
And I heard Ian was in the hallway getting back from wardrobe. So what the fuck is going on? And Roger's like, just get on the fucking bed. You weren't expecting him at all.
He jumped in, and we just started doing it together.
It looked like that was choreographed, though.
Not at all.
What?
Not at all. Not a damn chance.
I gotta tell you, at the very end, I don't know how you guys did it. When you stopped, your fucking ass is up in the air, and he's doing like this. It was perfect. You tell me that was one take.
One take. Look, it's one of those movie moments, Jeff.
And they had to keep it in. They
kept it in.
Watched it and went, we got to use this.
Well, they played the music, right? So we had that to dance to, and you just kind of go in look. You can't tell me there's not times in most of everybody's life where they're in their bedroom by themselves.
Oh, well, yeah, but it's different when you have people around, and
it's 100% different. It's 100,000 times different.
Right.
But what I'm saying is that we've all imagined it.
That's true.
And at that time, when I was standing on that bed, and he asked me, "Are you ready?" I was like, I'm just going to go. I'm just going to do it. And
it's so great, dude. So great.
And then Ian jumped on, and we just kind of flowed off of each other. And when it crescendoed, and when it was done, it was done.
Okay, so the scene before that, when we first meet you, it's like, first off, is what was in there? Coke. It wasn't liquor, correct?
I think it was like iced tea.
So you weren't drunk at all. You didn't go method. You didn't.
They didn't give me alcohol or anything. No, because it wasn't Coca-Cola, because the bubbly would have probably give you
iced tea maybe.
I think it was like iced tea in there. I think the bottle said Jeff Davis, or I don't know. It said something, because they didn't have the actual Jack Daniels logo on there for copyrights, or whatever. But no, it was on there. You just you do your work and have fun. And Roger was really great to work with. Great on like cheering you on, what working. Let's do that. We do this. I mean, he was.
Did he give you a lot of direction in that first moment where you come into the room with Ian, and you sort of confront him on the bed? You're very aggressive with him. Is that the direction he had given you? Just be aggressive. And you did it.
I don't quite remember exactly, but I feel like he was like, "Hey, you know what? Go after him, get on top of him or something," because you had to set up for that angle anyway.
Yeah.
I think maybe he saw something in the rehearsal, and he like more of that, adjust that. Yeah, actually, yeah, just go for it, Russell. Like if he saw something he liked, he was like, "Go for it."
Wow. How many takes was that first part of that scene? How many takes? 5, 6, 10?
I'm walking in where we're on the bed.
When you guys walked in, and then Faye and Swoozy come walking in, catch you, whoa, and then you go back in the bed and you're chugging the Jack.
You know what? I don't remember the number of takes that was actually. I don't remember. I don't think he wasn't it wasn't like an extraordinary number or
Yeah,
anything. It wasn't you hear those stories of
like Stanley Kubrick did. Like,
yes,
yeah.
it wasn't like that, you know.
Okay.
When he got something that he wanted, he liked it, and he moved on, you know.
How
So
many days was that shoot? 3 scenes, right?
yeah, I think maybe it was
Couple days.
because that dinner table scene was a night shoot,
Okay.
and that was all night, and then the one in the hotel I think was a day as well. I might have only been there 2, maybe 3 days, but I think it might have been maybe 2, 3 at the most. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
only in that film maybe 6 minutes.
It's the best part of the movie, man. It is. And
Thank
there are a lot of people that I went out to Reddit. Every Reddit thread had at least mentioned you guys, you and Ian, every time. And not everything's mentioned, like it's brought up. People remember it. And they go, why is it that, we're not seeing more Russell? What happened? You know what I mean? Like they don't
Yeah.
understand it. They don't know what the fuck. Because your talent in that movie was monumental. When I watch film and I see an actor I've never seen before, and I go, "Wow, that one has it." Like what you did in that scene was so much fun. It was so engaging. It was enlightening. When you watch it for the first time, like, "Oh my god, that looked like that was so much fun." That's what being an actor. When you think about being an actor, you want to be an actor. Those of you who want to be actors, that's the sort of role in moments that you dream about. You go and you did it. So, I don't know. What direction did he give you in that diner scene? Because Russell, you fucking nailed it. Every moment you nailed. Was that mostly you, or did you get a lot of direction? Like, why? I mean, that's good stuff. Is that all you do, organically?
Okay, it was a total collaboration with the actors I was with and
Okay,
Roger, because Roger let me loose,
that's great.
and a great director, if something's working, they just keep doing what you're doing. You know what I mean? And he let me loose. Swoozie and Faye and Ian were wonderfully supportive because their reactions amplify that scene. Do you know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah, dude, the reactions that Faye gives,
Yeah, yeah.
perfect.
They're
Little,
you
little.
know they they it them allowing me to do that and stay in their character's world as well and interact with me was very generous on there, right? And so it's never just one person, right? There are moments when you are in the zone, like you're following impulse to impulse to impulse to impulse, and you are in that tunnel of like you're just the vessel and it's just streaming through and you're in this very freeing place of
Right.
you're following your impulses of what to do. You're supported by the directors going, yes, that, keep going, good. And you're supported with the actors seeing what's happening that you're acting with, and they're like, great, yes, keep going, right? Also, I was really big about not repeating a take, right? So I would have freedom to do things differently, you know,
Okay.
because I didn't understand film as much. I just like doing things fresh each time and trying new things.
Mm.
You can't always get away with that with camera angles and matching and stuff. Um, but at that time, most of it's just single shot on me, which I didn't realize at the time, which gives you really a lot of freedom to do whatever the hell you want to do a lot of times, right? Because
Yeah.
there's no over the shoulder. It's 2 shot on the ladies, 1 shot on Ian, 1 shot on me, right? There's no over the shoulder there. They have a wide shot, yeah, you know, when I leave there. But he really allowed me to play, and he was very encouraging to keep going and what was working, what he liked, you know.
Did you improv any lines, or was that all off the script?
I think I don't.
Like when you left, dude, and you go, have a good one. That's something we say here in the Midwest.
Yeah, that one I added.
If I got it.
That one I added. Siggy, Siggy.
Yes, I knew it. Fuck, I fucking knew it. That's what we did. That's what we did. Siggy. When we got a little drunk, we'd have a cigarette. We called them Siggies.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I got to. I mean, those are real. Were they real smokes? I feel like they were. I feel like they were real Marlboro Reds that we were doing that day.
Well, you were smoking something. You exhaled like it went in your lungs.
Yeah, because that was the hard guys. And what else?
Do you smoke, or did you smoke at that time? It looks like you did.
At that time, I did. I did smoke because I was, you know me. I was willing to try anything. What is this? I don't know. Great.
Yes.
So I did at the time. I did. And so that was not a big deal.
You could tell actors who fake smoking. And I'm going to tell you one that did. And you might recognize it. I recognized it because I watch him all the time. James Dean hardly ever inhaled. Watch it. He hardly ever inhaled, which tells me he didn't really smoke. As a smoker, you know when people smoke. You see it exhale. You know how it comes out. It's not like you're puffing on a cigar. It goes in the lungs and it comes out in a certain way.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting. You weren't fucking around. That was all you, man. All you.
Yeah.
You had every scene. You had every moment. You were having fun. It showed. You looked good. You know, your character, your wardrobe, your costume, what you want to call it. Whoever decided on your wardrobe, your hair, the sunglasses, everything. Playing a gay role, if you're not homosexual, not easy to do.
Well, that's why I say it took everybody. Wardrobe, hair, makeup, fellow actors, lighting. Like it is. You know what I mean? There's no way I could have done it by myself. No actor ever does it by themselves. Do you know what I mean? Now, when they set the plate for you,
yeah,
and you're going, you know, you're in the thing. Right, you're in that sweet space that's better than any drug or anything that you could possibly do. Is when you're in that spot, is better than anything.
It's so good.
Better than chocolate. It's better than chocolate.
I don't know about that.
You know, it's better than that. It's better than
chocolate very much.
It's some would say it's better than sex because it's such a. Because I tell you why. Because you are in the vortex of being totally present and in servitude of the thing, whatever the thing is. You're not thinking about your past. You're not thinking about the future. You're literally in the present, and you're just and you're in that magic moment. And Roger is he's
phenomenal. He's phenomenal.
I hope I get to work with him again.
I'm surprised. Like I took a look, and he really hasn't done that much in terms of directing. He's a writer mostly, I think. He talks about screenwriting a lot.
Yeah.
So I was like, why is it? Because he seems to be a big fan of yours. And a lot of these directors will use the same actors in their projects. They trust them. They love them. So get on it with him. Stay in touch with him.
I can't wait for the day when we get to work together again, because
seriously,
it'd be one of those really beautiful moments, because he was a jewel, a gem. He was a big advocate to get me on that project. And I mean, I owe a lot to him that he got me on there and that. And you know, there was a funny moment. He's like, "Hey, Russell, I want you to tickle him under the table. I want you to put your foot in his crotch." And And I was like, he's like, it has to be your foot, Russell, because on my dying deathbed, I'll watch the movie, and when I see the foot in Ian's crotch, I'll know it's not your foot if it's not your foot.
That's so great. That's so great. What a great opportunity. And I'm sure you had a lot of fun. And you want to talk about the premiere a little bit? Because I'm sure you met a lot of interesting people. I think Marilyn Manson was there.
Yeah. How do you know that? How do you know that?
Dude, I did my research. I watched mostly everything you've done. We're not going to touch on it all, of course. We're approaching hour number 2. So, I mean, we touched on everything that I wanted to. So anything we do from here further is just bonus for me.
Right on.
So during the premiere,
yeah,
Manson, who else grabbed your attention?
Funny thing about the premiere, I mean, I'll never forget. I didn't have anything to wear, and
Where'd you get your dreads from?
My manager,
Okay.
Carl Scott was his name. The guy who was also Warner Brothers Music, big music producer, right? Artist development. He's the guy I told you about earlier.
Okay.
That developed, helped Madonna, Katie Lang, Van Halen.
Okay, that guy. Okay.
Yeah. So he and John worked together as to make this management company. Simmons and Scott was the name of the management company. Okay. Anyway, Carl Scott, he's passed now, but he was like, Russell, you're what are you wearing? I was like, I don't know, I can't afford anything. Like, what about, I don't know what I guess.
Whoa! How much did you get paid for that project?
Oh, you just get paid like SAG daily rate.
Are you fucking kidding me?
No, yeah, man.
That was a big movie, but it was independent, sort of.
Yeah, it's independent, so they didn't have like a crazy budget. I was a no name. I think I made maybe $2,000 from that.
Are you fucking kidding me?
No,
you made $2,000 for that performance.
Yeah,
fucking believe.
Yeah, because look, I was early on in my career,
so
right? But but what it got me though, it got me a lot of other opportunities, which
I get that, but that's incredible.
But yeah, you don't. Yeah, so I got paid like day rate or something for that, So, so I was like, I don't know, Carl. I don't know, Carl. He's like, I have your appointment down in Beverly Hills. I was like, you gonna get fitted for a suit? And I was like, are you serious? He's like, I'm not having my boy go in a rented suit.
That's awesome.
I'll always remember that.
That's fucking fantastic.
He bought me a really nice suit.
It was a nice suit. I saw the pictures. You know, good. Yeah.
And it was the nicest thing I ever wore. And he did that. He was like, I'm not having my boy go to a premiere in a rented suit.
That's fantastic. Oh, man. That's great. It looked like you did bring a date.
Yeah. At the time I was dating this wonderful young lady. Her name was Jen. She was there. She was there with me. I brought a couple other friends with me.
Oh, you could do that.
They went in there with me because I had like plus 2 or 3 in there, so they kind of came.
That's cool.
Good. But funny thing, Jeff, not many people are interested in me on the way in.
Okay.
Great. You're who?
Okay, so they haven't seen the movie yet.
Right.
They don't know who you are yet.
No.
Now, did you get more attention after the movie?
100%.
I'm sure you did.
100%.
You want to talk about people coming up to you afterwards? Is that interesting?
Well, my favorite was Marilyn Manson, because he was standing off to the side and he goes, Dick, my name is Dick. And I looked over and there he was. And I was like, whoa.
It's not Richard.
And I went up to him and shook his hand, and he had a book out at the time called A Long Road Out of Hell. And I know he's been going through all kinds of stuff. Yeah. Right. But I'm just talking about that period of time.
At that time. What a moment.
What a moment, right?
He was huge at that time.
He was huge. I was a huge fan of his music.
Yeah.
I loved his book. And I saw him and I was like, Marilyn, I loved in your book where you said the less people know about you, the more they think you're genius.
Interesting.
And he looked at me and he was like, you read it? I was like, yeah, man. I was like, thanks for seeing the movie. He's like, you were great, whatever. And so that was good. Somebody else. That's I mean, I met all the cast there that I didn't get to meet on the shoot days. You
James
know,
Van Beek, a good guy. He's a good guy.
after the premiere, they had the party, and I was walking by, and he goes, Russell, Russell. I look, and my friend goes, Russell, James Van Beek's calling you. I look over, and he shook my hand and commented on my work, and I commented on his. He was,
He seeked you out.
well, I walked by, and he saw me, called out my name,
Good.
and he was a lovely, generous guy,
Seemed
man,
like a good guy.
you know,
Really.
and it was a privilege to shake hands with him, and we were all so young.
Yes, and another person that was in that movie, a very interesting role that I sort of hold dear to my heart that I thought I'd never see, was Fred Savage. He was a part of my childhood, the Wonder Years.
He hadn't done a role like that.
No, and since he has not done a role like that.
He never did a role like that where he's.
This movie is so special, so different. So
Man, the amount of young talent they had in that movie is phenomenal. I mean, you had Jessica Biel doing something. She was breaking away from
who's the guy that went in that weird trip? People also say that's their favorite part of the movie.
Oh yeah.
I forget his name. Pardue? Chip
Pardue.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent.
They went to Europe and really did that.
Amazing.
You know,
Amazing.
That movie, they had so much young talent in there. It was kind of like the darker version of The Breakfast Club.
With a lot more characters.
With a lot of characters in there. Substitute any young 20s movie of mismatched kids or whatever, you know? Right. And you had a lot of actors in there who had done, like, you know, nice family-oriented stuff that were breaking out into doing other things, right? Yeah. I mean, that scene in the bathtub was like extremely powerful. Teresa was the actress that she did that role, and then, you know, and then Shannon Sossaman was great in that. James, I thought, was like, man, he really took a risk and did that film, you know.
A lot of people say he was miscast. Do you agree?
You know what? I myself, to me,
I thought he did well.
I thought you had a guy who was pigeonholed in something and he took a risk doing something else.
Dawson's Creek.
Yeah.
I mean,
to me, he took a risk and did a film like that. I say kudos.
It was, what a great experience for you, man. Amazing. Okay, so that was great. I got my fix because honestly, I love the performance. I love the movie. And for people in our age, they can identify with that time. They can identify with the playfulness of it. And in my show, this is the first time I'm actually talking to somebody face to face that was really there. They've been there, experienced everything. So before I go and we go, I want to know, who's your biggest influence and who do you consider to be the greatest actor you've ever seen? Who do you put in? You go, or when I'm down and I'm just not well, I like to put in Brando. I like to put in Jack Lemmon because they just make me, I can see greatness. Is there someone that for you?
I don't have a go-to that I go to like right now. I have people that I really love watching them work right now, and it kind of it changes. Like I love Allison Janney.
She went to the neighborhood playhouse. I went there.
Really?
She's very well respected.
I love her and also Rebecca Hall. She's a British actress, but she's done. I don't know if you've seen. She's in a ton of things. She's I started watching Beauty on Hulu. The guy who did American Horror Story. His name's escaping me now. Ryan Murphy is one of his shows, and she's in the first episode or two, but she's done amazing things. She's really great in that movie Christine that she did in 2017, where she plays the news anchor, real life, that kills herself on air.
Oh wow, okay. I don't know. I don't think I've seen that.
So
It's
I
worth a
like
watch.
it,
Okay.
I kind of segue with people that I like. Also, I love Bill Camp. If you saw him, you'd recognize him. Also, I just think he was. I think he's really great. He's one of those guys that you can tell is just slogged it along, man. You
Bill
know,
Camp. Okay.
Camp, CAMP, Bill
Okay.
Camp. And then I also like Jason Clark.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
I
he's
got a
good.
chance to work with him on an Apple show,
Okay.
The Last Frontier, and I've seen what he's doing right now. He's one of those real deal actors,
Mm-hmm.
real deal guy. I mean, he doesn't need me telling people that. His work tells for himself, but he's like I love watching his work on there. So there's like some people that I really enjoy seeing them work. Also, I've always been a fan of Gary Oldman. Like,
What do you think is his best role?
oh,
Movies had a lot. I love State of Grace with Sean Penn. It's sort of under the radar film. Tremendous. Tremendous.
I haven't seen that one. I'm gonna write that one
Oh,
down.
really? Yeah. State of Grace. It's by Irish Gangs. Sean Penn plays an undercover cop.
Oh, that'd be good. Oh,
And even Robin Wright Penn is in it too.
Gary Oldman's interesting because he went through a period of years, I think, where nobody was giving him roles.
Well, he was going through life. He was a pretty hardcore alcoholic for a while. I don't know if you know that.
No, I didn't.
Bad, dude. Bad shape.
Well,
really bad shape.
Well,
he'd go through 2 bottles a day.
Well,
Yeah.
Kudos to him because
Yeah.
I love watching him on Slow Horses on Apple.
I'm sorry. Slow Horses. See, I haven't seen it yet.
On Apple, I love watching that. So there's people that kind of rotate on that I really like. I mean, for me, if you go back to some of the old school guys, and I'm not going too old school back. I'm talking like the 70s. When that time when American cinema was really changing, when American cinema was getting so much influence from the French New Wave of the 60s, right? And we had that rebellion. I really love a lot of Jack Nicholson's work.
Me too.
Early on.
Yeah.
To me, if I had to pick De Niro, Pacino, or Nicholson, for me, it was always him.
Nicholson?
Yeah.
Like Easy Pieces. I just watched that the other day.
Yeah.
Chinatown.
He was. Look, those are great. Those are some of the greats that people always mention. He was always the one that I kind of enjoyed the most.
He's fun to watch.
And I don't love everything that he's done, but
oh no, sure.
But we all do movies that we look back on and be like, God, it was whatever, or it wasn't a good movie or something.
Oh yeah.
But I don't have any that I really draw from, but those are kind of the ones there, and I just I just want to say though, if you don't have to run away,
no, I don't, dude. Like I said, I could go all night. I don't want to keep you.
That to any actors out there listening, where maybe you're in a different profession or something, that doing good work on each opportunity you get really helps you with the next thing, because Rules of Attraction, it didn't do well in movies, in the theater.
It didn't, but it's got a cult following.
But it had a cult following.
Dude, it's on. You can watch it right now on something.
But it helped get me other work.
Right. Of course.
A couple. I worked with the director on 2 different music videos. Same director.
Hoobastank.
Yeah, and I did one with
that was good.
A band called Low Millions.
Okay.
And then it got me other work. Wonderland. We were talking about that earlier on too in our talk. Wonderland. It helped me it helped me get other things, and also it was great for the reel, and it helped out a lot. But so it gave me a lot of opportunity, and that happens sometimes. You'll work with somebody, like you mentioned, working with a director more than once. That happened with Supernatural when I was working with on doing Supernatural up in Vancouver when I was living in LA. That director really liked how prepared I was, how my work ethic, because there was a complicated scene that had a lot of movement and a lot of business, and while they were setting up camera, I just went through and rehearsed it over and over. I didn't know that he saw me doing that. I just wanted to make it as smooth as possible. And afterwards, he was like, you know what? I really appreciate what you did. Come to find out, he cast NCIS, and I auditioned for him again, and he pulled for me to get a guest star in that, right? Because he knew that he could count on me, right? So,
right. Well, we can't miss this one. The Flock. He worked with Richard Gere, Avril Lavigne, and Claire Danes in the same scene.
yeah,
that's big. I'm not a big fan of Richard Gere. I'll be honest with you. I think he does fine work. Don't get me wrong. He just looks like the type of person who would rub me the wrong way. And I may be completely off. He may be the sweetest guy you've ever known, all that stuff. I get a different impression. Prove me wrong. I hope you do.
the thing I appreciated, though, being a young actor doing that, right? Because it was directed by the guy, you know that TV, the movie The Departed.
Oh yeah.
Well, there was a Chinese version of that before.
Yes.
The guy who directed that Chinese version was the director of this one.
Okay.
Right. And so, and Richard Gere was the lead, and Richard Gere, would really take some time and kind of like help out the scene or help out me or Avril Lavigne. He really helped out Avril Lavigne. She was very, that I think that might have been her first role.
Avril Lavigne, I didn't know she acted, dude. I'll be honest with you.
Right. I don't know if she still does.
Like, I talked to my brother about this, and he's like, "Oh my God, you're gonna talk to Russell Sams?" I hope so. And he goes, "Avril Lavigne acts?" I guess so.
I don't know if she still does, but in that one, I think it was her first role.
Okay.
Right? And he really was there helping her out with that. And I remember there's one scene where my character's sitting there across the street watching a movie empty out.
Yeah.
I'm watching for who my victim's going to be.
Right.
And in between takes, Richard Gere was there, and he was like, "So, what are you looking for in this?" I was like, "Well, I'm kind of looking for like maybe the weak link, so I could pick them off, right? Like a herd." And he's like, "No." Because he was asking me this question, so I can get very specific.
Okay. Right?
Not just sit there and look at a crowd, but really know why I'm looking and what I'm looking for. Right? And he was like, no. You want to look for the brightest flower, the one that's in bloom the most. That's your guy. You're looking.
He kind of seems like a dark figure.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah. Well, I play a guy who does bad things in that. Yeah. And so I'm a stalker in that, and
you're pretty creepy. I'll be honest.
Thank you.
You did a good job.
Thank you. I mean, you're filming out in Albuquerque, New Mexico. It is the environment where we filmed out in the middle of the desert somewhere, and that environment kind of like everything just kind of seeps into you a little bit there, and it's dark material, but he was really great about.
Okay, he's a good guy, so I'm wrong.
No, but also I took a copy of Pretty Woman DVD, and I'm like, I'm going to ask him to sign this for my mom. And I went up.
Such a good son.
And I went up to his assistant, and I was like, "Hey, do you mind? Can you give Richard this to sign for my mom? She's a huge fan, and she loves this movie, and it really means a lot." And she's like, "Okay, if it's for your mom and not for you, then it could be he'll probably do it." And I was like, yeah. So you know what I mean? He's a huge star.
So he did do it. He signed it.
Oh yeah.
Okay, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just the kind of. Maybe it's because he plays a lot of arrogant, kind of cocky characters. That's his. He just seems arrogant to me.
Hey, look, everybody.
Maybe he has
different stories on different days on different shoots.
Maybe. Okay, but he seems like you had a nice experience with him then.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay,
he was
interesting.
good. And he was down to do his own stunts. You know, that scene where he's beating me with the bat. I mean, I have that thing right here. This is right here.
He was having a good time beating you with the. Oh, you have it right there.
That's
There
right.
it is.
It's one of those movies that you kind of see on Amazon late at night, and you're like, wow, they got all these people, got all these people in it. How come I've never heard of it? There's a whole graveyard of movies of people of like well-known actors, and you probably never heard of them because something happened in the final edits or the marketing.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
You know, there was holes in the story, it didn't quite whatever, you know, but yeah, so I thought that was going to be my big break.
Well, the flock.
Yeah, I was like, oh,
That was it.
I was like, this is going to do it.
Yeah.
Look who.
Oh yeah, it was a big cast.
I was like, this is going to do it, but it never got released in theater. It got, I don't know the details. It got bogged down in post, and they had to re-edit and reshoot or something, and it got
Amazing.
I don't know. So it's, you know, it's one of those things that I thought was going to happen. Just like I thought Rules of Attraction, I thought was going to be big. Just like the pilot I did, the World War II pilot that I mentioned before, that was going to be, you know, that was for a major network. That would have changed the trajectory of things if that would have gone. But, you know, it didn't. You know, there's a lot of those things, you know, that happened during the course. I mean, of an actor's career, it really comes down to like, you have to love it. You really have to.
Right.
You know, because there's times when it gets like, you get doubtful, you question like, what am I doing? Oh my gosh, I'm this age. All my other friends have X, Y, and Z in their life. You know, they have savings. They have a house. And you're like, oh, what am I doing? You know, it's cool when you're in your 20s, you know, because it's like, oh, you're doing movies.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
In your 30s, it's like, oh, yeah.
Still going.
And you know, if you're not you know, on billboards by a certain time, they think that you're like, oh, you still doing that? And which is disrespectful, because you never asked that of a doctor. Oh, Dr. Smith, are you still, how's that doctor?
Doctor, I don't see your billboard up anywhere.
You know, but there's tons of actors like me that are still going, that still work, that still do things, that still went through times where you didn't work in a while.
You're a working actor though.
And then there's times you get back on it. You know, life happens. You got to work out your own stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like you were mentioning Gary Oldman and stuff. I was like, you know, a lot of us have to do that. I had to do it. You know, you take your eye off your career for a while. You get lost in doing other things. Maybe you get lost in studying, and you forget that what about your career? You're not even doing that. You think that doing the dreamer examines his pillow for like 2-3 weeks. You know, John Patrick Shanley play for a month straight is going to.
Yeah,
it's very beneficial, but if I'm hiding in that, and don't get me wrong, you're still making art, it's still very fulfilling. But if you want to have a career, you can't forget that. Sometimes it's good to go in hiatus and go do other things, and that. But you can also hide in class, you know, as well. So you know, and also like I mentioned, personal things, you got to work through your own stuff, you know, because I remember. I took a commercial class because I always got frustrated with commercials, and I took a commercial class, and this teacher, you record it, and then we watch it, and he goes, "Oh, Russell, you don't like yourself," and I was so embarrassed, but looking back on that at that time in my life, he was totally right.
Really, he saw that.
He saw that, which means that was coming across in a lot of my auditions.
Wow.
Which means probably why I didn't book any commercials. Do you want somebody who doesn't like themselves selling your product?
Yeah, you weren't a happy person at that time. Obviously.
Yeah, I had things of self-worth
Yeah.
to work through. I had things of forgiveness of myself and others that I had to work through. I had anxiety and fear that I was hiding from. So it was a long road, and there was many years where there was no career, and I got let go by agents. I
Did
signed
you
with
really?
Oh yeah, well yeah, because when Rules of Attraction came out, one of the big agencies wanted me,
Which one?
William Morris,
Of course.
and I heard horror stories about how they'll take you on, you get lost.
What do you
In the,
mean?
you get lost in their
Well, you
roster,
get lost because they do represent a lot of people.
you
Yes,
know.
but they're the best.
And it was hard. There was a few things happening. It was hard to sell me because the movie didn't do well, so I wasn't a household name, and people in the industry knew who I was, which was really great. But I also said I didn't want to leave my agency that I was with, so I wanted a split deal
Okay.
with them, which ended up being really good because I was only with them for a year, and then they let me go because I didn't book anything. But
Okay.
that was also because uh, um, the higher up you go doesn't make it any easier.
Hmm.
It only gets more.
Okay.
Everything is amplified.
Okay.
So whatever dust and trash you sweep under the rug, the higher up you go, like you have to deal with that at some point. And also you're getting opportunities. I was going up against huge names
Were you really?
in
Yeah.
big films, and they're like, who is this guy? And like my acting started to stink because I felt like I had to be something when I went in there. You know what I mean? Like I had to like really be something. When I
Yeah.
went in there, the work suffered. You know, and so there was a lot of things that kind of also I'm taking a responsibility from my end. There were other things on the agent and administrative end that weren't handled well as well that could have really helped as well. But on my end, there was I got I had the thing of almost being like what you would call an overnight success almost.
You
It took
did well right away.
it
You
happened
just did.
fast. It happened fast. And you know what? Little Russell at that time didn't have tools. Didn't have
Mhm.
tools. He didn't understand or know himself very well.
Mhm.
And at that time, it was a lot,
Sure.
and,
Yeah.
and I sometimes wonder, I'm like, wow, look at all these people who did work out on their big break. I wonder, like, how do they do that? They got a team around and they know they got their shit together. How do they do it? Maybe they don't. I don't know.
Yeah.
We only see what you see,
Right.
or they allow you to see. But but I stayed in it because I loved it.
I could tell. You could just tell from your performances. I watched BFFs. You're phenomenal.
Thank
Amazing.
you. I don't know anybody who's seen that. I thought it
Are
was
you kidding me?
a lovely film, and so thanks
Yeah,
for
it was. It was really good.
well,
It was a
thanks
good film.
thanks for saying that.
Yeah.
And you know what? I stayed in,
Mm.
and I got better as an actor, and I would say these past 3 years have been a total turnaround. And work is good. Things are humming. My work is good. Opportunities are good. Jobs have come. Teaching my own studio, my own class. I love that. That's part of it. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's challenging raising, being having a family and doing this.
That's not easy work.
It's not. I've had many jobs over the course of my career, part-time jobs, many jobs at one time, no jobs at all. So that are non-acting,
Mhm.
right? So I'm grateful for where I am now because I know I can offer a lot to up and coming actors or any actors in general, which is really what I want to do in my
I know that there are some young actors that listen to my show. So if you want to promote your workshop, please do. Say when it is, what it entails. I'm sure they would love to hear it. So, what's the name of it?
Well, I first of all, I love working with actors. Like,
You know, you do. We can tell.
It's a really important part. It feeds it.
Mm-hmm.
It feeds it. Because I'm out there on the front line as an actor to begin with, so I know what it's like. And me being an actor feeds me being a teacher and coach. The teacher and coach feeds me being an actor. They both feed each other, and very important.
Do. Yeah.
And also I'm staying in my core competency of being an actor.
Mm-hmm.
Teaching and coaching is part of that, and it really helps me be a better father, son, husband, right, as
Mm-hmm.
well, right. And I love working with other actors because I love seeing when they have breakthroughs and they improve in their work, right. And
yeah,
I've taken acting classes that weren't healthy,
mm-hmm.
and I've taken acting classes that were, and so I know I found my own way with what works, and I try to work with what it is in the modern day atmosphere, right?
Sure.
And I work fast in class, like I give
Mm-hmm.
fast redirects when we work. I don't take time to talk when the actors are up there working. They're in momentum, they're in the thing, and we're moving fast. We're moving fast. It's very similar to the modern day because in that nowadays, unless you're a regular, we're the lead. You're a day player, or maybe you're on set for a few days.
Mm-hmm.
You might only get 2 takes.
Sure.
Budgets are low. They don't have a lot of time. They got to shoot a ton of pages in a short amount of time. You're the guy coming on as a guest. We're not going to give you 10. You get 2.
Yeah, that's it. Make your moment. Do it.
So it kind of, I'm just doing with what I'm encountering and what works for me.
Yeah.
And it's part of what I love to do. I had some I think it's also part of passing it on.
Mm-hmm.
And
you want to give your knowledge, your experience to someone else to help them. And when you see them have success, there can't be anything better than that, because you're now giving everything your all and everything that you learned, and then bestowing it on someone else is a great gift. That's teaching, and not everybody can do it.
It's true. Not every teacher can act, and not every actor can teach.
You get that right.
Do you know what I mean? It's true. It's
It
true.
is. Yeah.
I've seen actors that came, 3-4 years ago. I'm thinking of a couple in particular right now, and they're like, "What am I doing? I don't know about this, Russ. I don't know." I'm like, "Let's just get in there and sweep the floor." Meaning, my manager told me this thing: sweep the floor. Meaning, just go in there and sweep the floor. Just come in there and work. Just make it simple. Come in and do your work. Clock in, get some practice in. Get in there and do your work. And I'm like, let's just get to work here. All right, you're still here. You're not quit yet. Obviously, there's something about it you still love. We're here. And then, and I've seen actors who really just put the time in, and their careers have changed. I had one actress, all of a sudden she's a lead in a movie last year.
Really?
3-4 years ago, she almost quit.
Who was it? The actress.
Her name is Candace. It's a Lifetime movie. I don't remember the name of it.
Fantastic.
I got a guy who, his name's Dan. He almost quit, and he was just disgruntled. And I get it.
Yes, I know.
Jeff, I've been there. I've almost quit. I've almost quit before.
I quit.
But the people who do, I say kudos, because you're like, you know what? Great, moving on.
Right.
Like there's no, like, kudos to be able to do that. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Dan, he was like, I don't know, man. And he was in a place. And then last year he did he had a breakout October. He had like 2 or 3 projects. He did, one of them was the Michael Cera film that's coming out, and he was opposite of Pamela Anderson. And I'm like, this guy almost quit.
He quit. and he's
Do
getting
you know what
work.
I mean? And but these two actors I'm talking about, they stayed in,
Right.
and they like shifted their approach, and like, I'm just going to get better. I'm just going to do this thing here.
Mhm.
And by making it more about getting better and about the acting, it really eats away at bitterness and resentment,
Mhm.
because I'm making it about the thing, you know?
Right. Right.
I'm being creative. I'm making art. If I'm doing that, two things can't occupy the same space at once. My bitterness and resentment can't occupy the space of joy and creativity.
It's one or the other.
And I juggle them. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get joy and creativity more in there. I went through phases of huge resentment and bitterness. It's a horrible, horrible place to be, right? But anyway, what I'm saying is that I love seeing actors do it, and it says something about dedicating. I mean, I've done classes where it was like twice a week for like 5 hours of class, right?
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if actors nowadays have the stomach for that.
No, they don't.
I don't think so.
No.
It could be for a myriad of reasons why we don't have to get into. But, to see actors dedicate themselves and do it, then that's phenomenal. And my studio is called The Actor's Way In,
Mm-hmm.
because it's whatever way into the story and the character that you can do to get in there. I don't call it after my name. I don't want that. I don't want it to be the Russell Sam Studio. I want it to be actor-led transformations. I'm only a guide here to do it, bring it in there. I can be I'm a very, what do they call me? They tell me that I'm supportive but challenging, which I am. I take velvet gloves. I do challenge. I do push, but also because I've been there. I'm in it, right?
Yeah.
And so there is that, because also actors come up to me and they're like, Russ, sometimes I just do a scene and they tell me, great, good job, and sometimes I want to know what I can do better. I was like, hey, I get it. Let's do that. Do you know what I mean? And I say it, and I say it in a way that I would want to hear it. So yeah, I call it The Actor's Way In. You can find details on it on my website, russellsams.com. I have a couple pages there for the classes I do. I stopped doing online stuff like around 2023. I think everybody got just tired of it.
Okay.
And I started doing in-person workshops here in Toronto and Ottawa, which is north of here. I have a great community up there. Every class is almost full that I go up there and do. And then when I drive down to Tennessee, I'll do an in-person class either in Knoxville or Oak Ridge, around there. I'll do an in-person class when I get down there. And then I work with a lot of people one-on-one on private coaching and auditions. Some people that come to me, if they don't have an audition, they're like, Russell, there's something going on with my self-tape. Can I work with you on it? Whatever it is, I'll work with them on it. I'm right now, I'm working out doing an online course for it's for self tapes, but it's also about the aspect of storytelling.
Okay.
Because sometimes I used to get a script, a sides for an audition, and literally I'm just thinking about my acting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not thinking about the story on the page that the writer really needs told.
Right. That's the most important thing.
Most important thing,
Go
I'm
figure.
thinking about, can I make good choices?
Yeah.
Can I, they're in a coffee shop. Can I come in juggling? What can I do to really stand out? Maybe I should breathe fire. Maybe
Anything. Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm putting together something. I haven't done it online in a while. I think I'm going to do that. And then also, I have a digital course that I put together last year called the 8 Steps to Your Best Self Tape. There's links to that on my Instagram page, and there's it's hosted by Udemy, and there's if you go through that link, then you kind of go through me versus Udemy, although it's hosted by Udemy, but you go through me. But it's something I put together, very simple, things that I use.
Right.
Nothing in there is nothing I don't do.
It's nothing that you don't trust.
And it seems to be working for me. That's the thing. You know what I mean? Like it seems to be working for me. And so it's just stuff that I do, you know, stuff that I learned from other teachers that I'm putting together from some stuff I've made up, you know, and I put extra stuff on there, like the 7-minute warm up, which involves breath work, and other things in there to do. So, you know, that's part of the thing that I love to do when I get to do that, which is coach and teach.
Yeah, and it seems that way. It comes through that way when I watch your clips. You're very passionate. You know what you're doing, and you could switch it on. That's very hard to do. And does it take you a while to get yourself revved up?
When I go do a class,
When you do a little clip, I see you going through acting exercises. That's not easy.
Oh, I see. You talking about that one, the numbers?
Yes.
Yeah, I got that exercise during the pandemic when I was taking an online class with a teacher up in Vancouver named Michael Sims. He got that from a guy named Daryl Hickman.
Okay.
And where's his book? Here it is. He got it from a guy named Daryl Hickman.
Okay.
Right, and this guy, it's the numbers exercise. So that it's just to kind of help you get into your body. It helps move energy. Like there's some days where you're like, oh,
you don't have it. You just
where you're about to tape a self-tape and you have an argument with your boyfriend or girlfriend.
Right.
Where you have an argument where you just found out that you owe taxes. You know, where you
just don't have it that day.
Where you just found out like your car got towed. Right. And here I gotta go do an audition. Oh, great. I gotta go do yeah. And I'm like, I'm just like, you know, you're sad, you're angry, you're whatever. And there's something to be said about that, to bring it to the work. But if you need like to move some energy, there's things to do to move energy to help you get to a place of openness. Not to clamp down or pretend like nothing's happening, but to get to a place of openness to where you're ready to work in whatever state you're in. You know, it took me a while to find that joy in doing it. You know, I know what it's like to be in a place where you feel disconnected from acting and you don't like it or whatever. I know what that's like, you know, and I also work with actors that you ever heard that term, second act actors?
What's that?
It's actors who maybe did it in high school, did it in college or university, and then something happened, you know, life happened, health, career, family, and then they had to take care of that. They had to do that. And then later in life, a few decades down the road, they're like, I'm going to go back to acting. Right? They call them second act actors because they're in a different act of their life.
It's cool. Okay.
Yeah. I work with a lot of actors like that, which I love doing because they're hungry. They're hungry and they're like, I'm ready. Let's do this, you know, because they know they loved it and they sit with loving it for decades. And they're like, I have to do this. I have to do this now. You know,
that's really cool though. You're working with people like that.
It is. I love it because, you know, so, and I also work with a lot of new actors, which I love to do. I love doing as well also, you know, so.
That's great. That's great. So before we go, you want to talk about some of your future projects? I see you got something going on with David Strathairn. Is that correct? A movie?
Oh man, what a delightful human.
I love him so much. He's fantastic.
Oh, just, oh, so last year I did a film in August down in Charlotte, outside Charlotte, North Carolina, called The Bard.
Yeah, okay.
Kevin Wilmot is the director. He co-wrote with Spike Lee on Black Klansman and done many other projects. Anyway, this is he directed this, and it's about the first published Black poet during the time of slavery in around is pre-Civil War. So it's about the first published Black poet in America, and he's in that movie. David is, and he was just a gem to meet. And when I finished shooting, I was like, David, I'd love to get a picture with you. Can I get a picture with you? And he's like, yeah. So I got a picture with him. I haven't posted it yet or anything, but I kind of kept it. I kind of want to, when I find out there's a trailer or a shoot date anytime soon, then I'll put it out there. But it was a great experience. I mean, that's the dream, is to be a cross-border actor, to be an actor in North America. My wife's Canadian, so that's how I end up being up here. It just
happens that way. Life.
It happens that way.
Yeah.
So that's the dream, to be on both sides of the border and do it. And the past couple of years, I've done a film in the States. The year before was a film called Giant Void. It's a thriller drama sci-fi. I'm really excited for it. I think it's a really like one of those like beautiful pieces. You'll get sometimes. I was told to do a project for there's 3 reasons you do a project. The pay is good, the people and the material that you're working with is really good, or you really love the role. Right? If you can get 2 of those 3, you definitely have to do it. And there was no pay really on this, but the role was great, and the people that I worked with and the story was great. And I think with a lot that's coming out now, because you have Spielberg's Disclosure out, and you have the trickling in of Are We Alone out there. I think this piece is going to be really, really good. I can't wait to see it. Actually.
That's fantastic. When do you think it'll come out?
I have the writer director sent me a trailer a few months back. I just haven't shared it yet. So they got a trailer. They're doing really some post production stuff right now, and so they're working through that. You can find more details if you go into my IMDb. You'll see The Bard, and also you'll see Giant Void on there. It's stuff in production, and you can see all the people that's working on both those projects on there and get more details on there. But both of those might be coming out this year. Also, the When Hope Calls, which is a prequel and spinoff to it's a Hallmark show. I get confused with the name. It's a prequel of When the Heart Called. No, Where the Heart Is. Home is Where the Heart Is.
Oh, okay. Sounds familiar.
Yeah. Anyway, that come out. That's where I get to rob a stagecoach.
Okay.
Which is a total bucket list of roles. I want it to be. I want to do a bigger role when you get to that. Oh, somebody else that I really like their work, Timothy Blake Nelson.
Who's that?
He was in a lot of Coen Brothers movies.
Okay.
He
was he in Wonderland? I think it's somebody else.
Was he? I can't remember. He has this movie on Netflix called Old Henry.
Okay.
He's really great in it. Also, he's in the show Low Down with Ethan Hawke.
Now did you work with Ethan?
I did on the Good Lord Bird, which is for Showtime. It was the episodes I worked in was with Albert Hughes, who's an awesome director. I'd love to work with that man again. But I got to work with Ethan Hawke, and he was really fun to work with. He was like a kid in a candy shop. He was like, let's block this, let's do this, let's work this. and he was like improvising, and he was a real treat to work with. Love doing that project as well.
He's very intelligent. He's very talented, and he loves what he does. You could see it. He loves it.
Yeah. He's one of those guys that like loves plays, loves the history. Like he was a delight to work with. Really was. His energy, that he brought on there was necessary because he was like helping make things work and make sense. And like, let's do this. Let's take it off the wagon as we're talking, as we do this. How's that sound? Yeah, great. Very collaborative, very fun to work with.
I bet. He seems like a really good guy too. Ethan Hawke. He's slowly becoming a legend in the business.
He is.
Yes.
He really is. His body of work definitely speaks for itself.
Training Day. That's all you got to say. Training Day. I mean, he did better than Denzel Washington in that movie. I mean, what?
I really wish, as another guy, I wish I could work with.
What, Denzel?
Yeah.
I met him.
I met him briefly during the when he did Antoine Fisher's story.
Oh, really? Okay.
I got me and like 8 other guys all got called in a room, and he just quickly met us.
Okay.
And I think he was maybe trying to fill in a couple of side roles or stuff, but I got to meet him briefly, and he's another guy I wish I could have the chance to work with. Who knows? But
you never know. I mean, anything's possible. You have let's put it this way. Just with this conversation with you, I can tell you're very modest. I can tell that. That's a rare trait. It's a very valuable trait to have. Modesty. You're very talented. I think you got some great things ahead. You're only halfway through, bro. You got a ways to go, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, like what? You're in your late 40s. What are you about? 46?
Yeah. Late 40s. Yeah.
I'm 49. So yeah, we're getting up there, but we still got a lot of time. So
well, I appreciate you saying that. By the way, you don't look 49, my friend.
Oh,
I'm not just saying that. You don't. So whatever's happening, whatever water is happening in Cleveland, right on. Keep drinking.
I try to.
Or maybe you're not drinking the water in Cleveland. That's why you.
No, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm having a lot of fun with my show. I got to meet you, talk to you. That's phenomenal. I've always wanted to act. It's just I knew that the business would have eaten me up, spit me out. I'm way too sensitive. Way too sensitive. I would have just been eaten alive if I had any success. It would just. I know it. So I wanted to have a family, but it gave me an opportunity to write. I wrote a couple of short films. I don't write anymore. I got maybe 10 scripts that are out there. But I'm doing a podcast that I love. I talk about acting. I talk about film. It makes me want to go back and watch 70s films. Like you said, that was the greatest decade to watch film. 70s. It was raw. It was real. That's what my show is. It's raw. It's real. It's truthful. I don't beat around the bush. I said I didn't like Richard Gere. I said so. He might be a terrific guy. But in my view, that's what may be bad about my show, is that you're getting perspective that may not be true. I tell my audience, don't believe everything I say. Do your own research. So you're only getting opinions. But I love film, and I thank you so much for joining me tonight. This is a Wednesday night in February. It's great. I mean, what else are you doing, right?
It is great, and it's evident that it's obvious that you love it.
I love it.
The piece you did on Rob Reiner and the other pieces you have on there, it's obvious that you love this art form, and you will be a really great flag carrier during this time of interesting transition that's happening, right? We're at a time right now which is kind of like what radio was when TV came along, of what the talkies were to silent films. We don't know how it's going to level out right now, but I realize there's a lot of things out of my control.
Mm-hmm.
But just like what you're doing, getting a YouTube channel going, keep working on my art and creative, working with other actors on my coaching and teaching, and that helps me get going. Who knows, Jeff? You might be directing a short or feature at some time. You never know.
You don't. It's something I might look into. I might. Yeah. Absolutely. But you and I are going to keep in touch.
We better. Yeah.
We'll see how this episode does. It may do very well. And if that's the case, we'll have to revisit. Just, we'll keep in touch either way.
Yeah.
We're really going to follow what you're doing for sure. I'm interested in your workshops. I'm going to keep an eye on that. And that's the stuff I really enjoy. And I just want to let you know, thank you once again. This was fantastic. I had a blast, and we could probably talk for 5 more hours, but I gotta work tomorrow, man. I actually do have to go in a little bit, but
No.
yeah, it was great. Any final thoughts or anything else you wanted to say to anybody out there? Maybe hopeful actors. Don't give up.
Yeah, I thank you for
Yeah,
this.
thanks, man.
I enjoyed it, and it's great to meet you and talk with you. And if there's people listening who whatever art form you're doing, it's really important to be creative. It's
I think it is too.
you know, you mentioned briefly at the top about you know, you have to be a good liar to go into acting. It's almost not even acting, it's almost becoming this thing, right? And being creative is whatever it is that you're doing, just try to get it in as much in your life as much as possible. And if there's any actors out there that are trying to find their footing or trying to find their way, keep going.
Yeah.
Keep doing it. There's
Stop.
a place for you. Do not be disheartened by news or media about new technologies that are coming. There will be a place for us. And if you're out there and there's any way that I can help you on your journey, I would love to. You reach out to me. I'm sure Jeff will have ways to connect on there. And I look forward to the next time we get to talk, Jeff.
You know, absolutely. Yeah, I may be bothering you, so I'm sorry.
Do it. Thank you for I know you gotta go. I gotta go too. Much respect to you, my man. Much love. Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Russell. I really do appreciate it. Good luck to you, and we'll be talking soon. We'll keep in touch, okay, Russell. Good night. Right. Okay, buddy.